This is your home for the Trojans. Girard Sports Live.
Snap and leans forward, and that's touchdown number 4 for Scout Moore.
Girard Sports Live is presented by Crawcan, your community technology partner. Learn more at ckt.net.
Looks, throw over to Adolph, quickly down inside, wrap around Boatman, found herself in the right place, foul, and the bucket!
He'll try a 3 and hits. Adolph with it up top, being guarded by Gass. Girard down the lane, off the glass, and good. Nice instinct by Adolph to just take it to the bucket.
Fielded on the short hop, fires this one across. Able to throw the runner out by a step and a half.
Pitch to the outside to Ashbacher. Gets a good block on the outside, and he's in for the touchdown.
It's time for the Trojans. On your home for Girard High School Athletics. Girard Sports Live. Girard Sports Live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Girard Sports Live here in Labette County, presented by Crawcan, your community technology partner. Don't get bit by slow speeds and high prices. Get gigabits, the fastest internet in Southeast Kansas with Crawcan. To learn more, go to ruralfiber.org or see everything Crawcan has to offer at ckt.net. Well, let's go ahead and roll into our pregame show, which is brought to you by Community National Bank and Trust, serving the area for over 30 years. Stop in soon to pick up your very own Girard Trojan Instant Issue Mascot Debit Card. Community National Bank and Trust is a proud supporter of Girard Schools, equal housing lender, member FDIC. Learn more online at mybankcnb.com. I'm Drake Miller here, joined in the booth by Caleb Humble. Caleb, we've got a bit of an interesting one tonight, a Thursday night matchup, something that we haven't seen a lot of this season, and one of the only ones in the CNC for tonight.
Yeah, and I don't know if it is the only one in the CNC for tonight. I know a lot of the teams are playing tomorrow, but just an interesting feel for a Thursday game. It definitely reminds you of that busy tournament week that we had a couple weeks ago. Just seems like constant basketball for these teams, and so it'll be interesting to see how the ladies can play tomorrow also with back-to-back games, and so that'll always take an effect, but just a quick turnaround from Tuesday's matchup.
Yeah, and just kind of looking down on the floor right now, I'm seeing both Maddie Kester and Erica Boatman in some pretty normal clothes, not dressed out for the contest tonight, so that's going to be a factor that I'm sure Coach Urlacher has kind of played into this almost doubleheader fashion where you're going back-to-back nights, don't want to exhaust your players, and maybe you feel as if Labette County is going to be maybe an easier matchup, or just feeling as if you need those ladies for the Anderson County matchup tomorrow. But regardless, I think both of them have been dealing with a little bit of nitpicky injuries as well. I don't know exactly the status. Can you give us a little insight into that, Caleb?
I mean, from both of them seem like they're not doing too terrible. It's just kind of like how you're saying, just making sure nothing more severe really happens, and so it's just kind of management control with knowing that maybe this could be you don't want to say an easier game, but you want to make sure that you can get that win tomorrow at home. And so if both of your seniors are sitting just for this one game, I mean, that's a part of just how you're going to have to really overcome that adversity. And so I think a big thing tonight will be to see how well your bench players can really step up. From her previous experience, I would think that those two people filling in those starter roles will probably be Briley Black and Augie Mooneyham, but it will be really interesting to see what Coach Urlacher decides to do, if he decides to bring some more people off the bench, because if you have those two bench players starting in that starting lineup, the only remaining bench player that has really been used in a rotation is Callie Trezona. So it'll be interesting to see what Coach Urlacher decides to do and if we'll see some new faces on the court tonight or not.
Yeah, and as we kind of look across the area at some matchups coming up, of course, not tonight, but tomorrow night, Frontenac is going to be playing against Riverton. Those are going to be two games that are going to be ones to watch, especially the ladies' game, being that Frontenac, the Raiders, are sitting at 11-3, and Riverton's also had a really good, successful schedule. And that's going to be, I mean, that's two of the top teams in the CNC going at it. So one to certainly keep your eye on. And then Colgan at Columbus, that one probably going to end up in Colgan's favor, them being the top team in the CNC right now at a 14-2 record. They've been very dominant. We saw Girard play against them last week on Friday, and that one ended up in a Colgan favor. So, of course, those are talking about the ladies' games, the men's games. All four of those teams very capable of taking down the victory in their own fashion, and those will be interesting games to watch as well as we look at those area matchups. And, of course, we'll give you updates on those tomorrow as well. Those area matchups are brought to you by Diskins Auto and Towing, 120 East Forest Avenue in downtown Girard. Diskins offers 24-hour towing and can repair all makes and models. To learn more, contact Diskins Auto and Towing at 620-724-8100. Caleb, let's go ahead and roll into some of these keys to the game here on the pregame show. Tell us, what has this Girard team been doing really well as of late, and what are they going to need to do to take down the victory tonight against this 6-9 Labette County team?
And so up until we faced off against Galena on Tuesday, one of the things that this Trojan team was really struggling with was getting those second chance opportunities and rebounding. And the other thing was just getting good shots and being able to play that dominant style of defense that we've seen from them before. And so I think the big thing of just continuing that, what we saw in Galena, and seeing if you really can continue to play that style of basketball whenever you're playing against maybe some of these better teams. And you don't want to knock Galena too bad, but they're not one of those more competitive teams in the CNC. And so with maybe an easier game on the schedule, seeing how well you can compare against these more competitive teams that might give you a little bit more of an issue. And so tonight, I think just more of that stuff of making sure that you get those rebounds, making sure that you get those easy opportunities, that if you have a straight-up layup, that you're not missing it in any sort of fashion, and that if you have those opportunities, make sure that you can really finish on them.
Well, we'll go ahead and step aside as those keys to the game are brought to you by the Girard Booster Club game day sponsor, which we will talk about here in a second. We'll be right back with starting lineups after the national anthem. So we will take a break and be right back on Girard Sports Live.
Here at Pittsburgh Interiors, we are proud to be family-owned and operated, serving our community with quality style and service since 1999. Step into our showroom and explore furniture, flooring, window treatments, mattresses, and more. Whether you're designing a dream home, office, or simply just adding that finishing touch, our expert team is here to help. Discover why families and businesses have trusted us for over 25 years. Pittsburgh Interiors, where style meets comfort and family comes first.
At Girard Medical Center, our physical and occupational therapy department is dedicated to helping you bounce back stronger. Whether you're recovering from an injury, surgery, or just want to move better every day. From student athletes to seniors, we provide personalized care and expert support right here at home. To learn more about our therapy department and our other services, visit GirardMedicalCenter.com, a proud supporter of the Girard Trojans and your hometown team for health and healing. Rooted in rural, focused on you.
You've enjoyed life. Over the years, your community has become your passion, something you hope future generations get to experience, just as you have. That's why the Girard Area Community Foundation has worked hard to help fulfill charitable goals and inspire generosity, meeting the needs of the communities they serve. Creating a legacy fund with GACF ensures what you leave behind is an effective and lasting improvement in the community you love so dearly. Make plans to visit GirardAreaFoundation.com, preserving traditions for those who follow.
And we're back on Girard Sports Live, getting set for this opening tip-off as we've got some starters right now. These are going to be pretty important with Girard up first. Go ahead and give them to me, Caleb.
And so the starters will change just a little bit tonight, with it starting off with number 2, a 5'6" freshman, Briley Black. Number 10, a 5'9" junior, Marley Sisney. Number 12, a 5'9" junior, Kennedy Keller. Number 22, a 5'6" junior, Carson Oran. And number 24, a 5'6" junior, August Mooneyham.
Yeah, and then on the other side for Labette County, starting off with number 13, the senior 5'5" point guard is going to be Amelia Carnahan, followed by number 21, the 5'9" freshman guard, Peyton Davis. That'll be followed by number 24, the 5'6" freshman, or 5'6" senior forward, that's Keely Good. Number 40, the 5'10" senior forward, Amory Baker. And then rounding out that squad is number 52, the 6-foot sophomore center, Kaylin McCoy. And right now, just kind of looking at the roster side by side, I would say that height-wise advantage is going to go to Labette County, just with McCoy standing at about 6 foot. But those starting lineups are brought to you by the Jagged Edge. The Trojans will start this game in style, but nowhere near the level of style you'll find at the Jagged Edge. Stylist Carlos Sands will have you looking your best for your next big game. Make an appointment soon by calling 620-724-7500. And as we roll into the opening tip-off, it is brought to you by Farmers Bank. Farmers Bank is proud to have helped with the growth and development of the communities we serve. Farmers Bank is looking forward to a brighter tomorrow. Farmers Bank with locations in Hepler, Walnut, St. Paul, and Girard. Caleb, any final mentions before we get into this opening first quarter?
I don't have anything. I just think this will be one heck of a game if the girls can stick with these Grizzlies.
Well, tip-off is underway. Grizzlies are going to start with the rock, almost losing it immediately. And we've got a foul called on the floor. I believe this is going to be issued against... Oh, no, I thought that was going against Keller as she kind of hit the deck. But instead, they dished that out to Labette County, and that was Carnahan getting the first foul of the game, first team. Another takeaway, this time for the Grizzlies, as Oran slows the pace and gets a great touch. That goes off of the hands of Davis for Labette County, and they're going to start with a full court press. Another foul, this time going against Amory Baker.
And I mean, so far in this game, it's just been either takeaway or foul, and so just not a very... I mean, you could say it's an action-packed game, but not much basketball happening so far.
Mooneyham and Oran working on the perimeter. Mooneyham from that wing spot.
There it is.
And she has found her mojo. Very impressive out of Augie Mooneyham. That has been her spot as of the last two games. Another loose ball fought for on the ground. It'll be last touched by the Trojans and out of bounds. Grizzlies maintain possession as Carnahan was in the fight. Carnahan on the inbound, gets it. Davis for the triple, can't go, it's a bit strong. And now back to the Trojans. Oran, we got a whistle blown, and Erlacher wants a quick timeout here. 32nd, he's gonna switch up something on offense, I presume.
I would assume so, and I mean, from my standpoint, I'm not sure what needs to be quite changed. I know you had that one turnover early, but a quick three is definitely something that we saw in that game on Tuesday against Galena. That it was that same player, Augie Mooneyham, that really just started the game and kind of made a statement with the three early on. And so it'll be interesting to see what Coach Erlacher really wants to change just from that.
Well, for Coach Erlacher, I think a lot of different things could be going through his mind. For me, I gotta say, he's seeing something in that Labette County defense. He's seeing a hole, he's seeing a crack, and he wants to try to take advantage of it right here. Either that or he's seeing a hole in his own defense, and he's got to make sure he patches that up before something bad happens. Sisney gets a wide open look for three. This one is rebounded by her. She takes it back to the block, And man, it spins out of bounds by Labette County on the tip.
And so far, I think you're right with Coach Herlocker maybe seeing a crack in the defense for Labette County of that they're honestly not playing too far on the perimeter and that they're leaving the girls open 4-3.
And there's another trigger from the perimeter. Oran now fighting for the ball. She's got a hand in there, and she's going to force a jump, which sticks with Girard. As Labette County won the initial tip.
And I mean, so far in the game, there's been incredible hustle just from, seems like every single girl on the floor for Girard.
And a drop in two out of Briley Black. It'll be interesting to see, you know, with that hustle and having kind of a, I don't know how limited Erlocker's going to keep his bench. Of course, we do see a lot of minutes out of Callie Trezona, but outside of that, it has been pretty much just her, Black, and Mooneyham coming off the bench. So tonight we'll see if he decides to dip a little bit deeper.
And I think that'll be the biggest thing for this game. That's just going to be interesting to see who's going to step up and who will actually fill those minutes that we don't typically see from whoever it is that decides Coach Herlocker will put into this game.
Right now, I'll tell you what, this has been all Girard so far in pretty much every possession other than their giveaway. And I guess they called that foul on the floor. Which, when the whistle was blown, Sisney was going up for the shot. Mooneyham finds herself open. Can't get it to fall for three, and now it's back the other way for Labette County, who have yet to have pretty much a full possession. Here's their first. McCoy can't get it to fall. It goes out of bounds on the Trojans. On the inbound here is Good. Gets it down to the block. Shot goes up, comes back down. No dice on the second try either from the new face McKinley Baker, who I believe actually checked in during that timeout.
And I mean, kind of like how you said, so far in this game, it has been all Girard. And one of the things that I was concerned about going into this game is just how will the team really perform without those two seniors sitting on the bench. And so it'll be interesting to see how this team will manage without their two leaders leading the way.
One of the things Coach Erlocker stressed in his post-game interview this Tuesday in the last contest, as we see another jump ball. This time it'll go for Labette County, so pretty favorable result for them. But he said that it's great to have players who can step up in that leadership position. Today we'll just get to see who it is that's going to be stepping up against Labette County. Got a foul called. I believe this is going against Kennedy Keller, and that it is her first, second team, first being on that shooting foul. And now Labette County will get to set up the offense for the triple. Can't go. It's rebounded into the hands of Davis. And we've got another foul called. So some quick fouls being called on both sides of the floor.
I was going to say, so far, just a foul-filled. I mean, we've only been playing for about 3 minutes, and so less than that. So just
2:19 on the game clock has been gone, and now we've got another
one.
This time O'Rand, I believe, is going to be dished.
And that'll be her second one.
Back to back.
Back to back. I mean, within about 2 seconds of each other.
So it's times like this where I think Erlocker is going to be questioning whether or not, like, you just subbed Briley Black out, and now he's going to check her right back in for O'Rand, I assume. And that it is. With O'Rand being in semi-foul trouble, you can't have one of those starters, especially if you're looking to limit your bench.
And I mean, that's going to be the big thing that you don't want in this game, is that if you do have those starters starting to get in the foul trouble, you're going to have to start to rely on your bench, and I'm not too sure how much Coach Herlocker wants to really get into this depth chart.
And Sisney takes it all the way to the basket, drops in another two. That's a great answer for Marley Sisney. We'll touch base on that bench question a little bit more throughout this game as it becomes a topic of conversation. Mooneyham to Keller and one. Great shot by Kennedy Keller to bump it up to 9 on the board for Girard. And now a chance to bring him into the double digits. Keller for the extra, gets it. Loose ball down there for Labette County, and man, this has just been tough for the Grizzlies, but a great timeout called by head coach Brianna Vollmer. We'll go ahead and take this timeout to talk about one of our sponsors. This break in the action is brought to you by the Southeast Kansas Player Health Alliance and Live Well Crawford County, reminding you to know your limits when gambling and know when the game is playing you. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-426-2537 for free assistance. Caleb, we're still just shy of 3 minutes into this game, or just shy of 3 minutes into this game, and right now it has been a total of 8 fouls, 4 for each team. Been a little bit messy with a couple of turnovers for each squad as well, and not a ton of scoring, at least on the Grizzlies side.
No, and I mean, for the Trojans, this isn't the worst outcome so far to start the game, and incredible block by Kennedy Keller.
It was an incredible block. Mooneyham loses the ball on her way down the floor. Now back the other direction with Carnahan. The shot goes up, comes back down into the hands of Mooneyham, who gets past the defender, relays it over to Keller, and in for 2.
I mean, just good basketball so far in this first quarter by the Trojans all around.
Another loose ball. Black dishes it. Sisney in. This is looking strong from Girard on the offensive.
And I mean, so far in the game, I think one of the biggest things is just how well this team is playing together. And I think without your 2 seniors, you have to rely on each other, and that's what this team is doing a great job of doing so far in the first quarter.
This game oddly reminiscent of the first game back from break, as we see a 3-point shot go up off of the hands of Olivia Roberts. That one won't go either for Labette County, and now it's back the other way. Oh my goodness, what a pass from the floor. Sisney to Mooneyham. Girard looking unstoppable right now. And another jump ball. Riley Black checking her nose here, and we're gonna get a substitution. New face on the floor. It's Macy Munkin. So she's gonna see some early time here in the first, as you would probably assume. Dip it into your bench right now.
And I believe, I mean, the Trojans have a younger squad on the court right now with 2 freshmen and 3 juniors, so definitely not the more experienced or older teams that Girard has had in recent years, in this game at least.
Yeah, averaging about a sophomore and a half in age, if you want to put it in terms of that. But bonus now for Girard, as Labette County has entered 5-foul territory. It is technically bonus for Labette County as well, as Girard sits at 4 fouls. Their next foul will send the Grizzlies to the line. Grizzlies trying to find some open breathing room here on offense. 2-3 zone going to town for Girard. This one almost poked out by Munkin. Trying to work her way inside is McCoy, who has to kick back out for the triple. No dice off the hands of Roberts. And Sisney gets her way past the defense, drawing a foul in the process.
I mean, it just seems like all Girard's right now in this first quarter. This is even a better start than we saw in Galena on Tuesday. And looking at the schedule, you would think Labette County would be one of those more competitive matchups.
Yeah, I mean, a team that's sitting at 6-9, they've certainly not been a stranger to victory this season, but those losses seems as if they've just gotten a little bit ahead of themselves. As Keller hits the deck, that's something that we have talked about in the past.
I was going to say, there's two things it seems like we say every broadcast, and that's Kennedy falling down and Harrison taking a charge.
100%. Keller gets it into Sisney. Back over to Black, who's got a wide open trifecta. Good for 3. Up to 20 here in the first quarter. As they will work it over for 3. This time for Labette County. Won't go off the hands of Schull. Got a foul underneath the bucket, as that is going to send Carson Moore to the line. Moore with an opportunity to put some points on the board for the first time in what seems like about 2 or 3 minutes. Almost 3 minutes for Labette. They have just been as quiet as a mouse here late in the first. Finally get one on. Brings that score up to 4, and offensively it's just been a lackluster effort with too many turnovers. Keller, short range 2, count that in.
And I mean, in this game we'll really start to see how the Girard bench can operate, with Kennedy Keller being the only real starter out on the court right now.
Shot goes up from Moore and can't fall on the 3. Mooneyham will take the point. And now work it on the perimeter with Munkin. Over to Keller. Keller looking to drive, kicks out, Black for 3. Can't go, it's a high bounce off the rim. And rebounded by the Grizzlies. Back the other way with Carnahan. Now working it over to Roberts. Inside is Moore. Back out, here's for 3. Gets it. Olivia Roberts tacks on another 3. Brings that score to a little bit more of a workable distance here for the Grizzlies. About 20 seconds separating shot and game clock as Girard nearly turns it over. It's recovered by Trojans, who pulls up from long range. Now she's gonna make a break back for defense and gets a great contest on the shot from Roberts.
So you would think the Trojans will slow it down here and try to hold for that last shot.
19 seconds. Over to Munkin, working the block, kick out. Mooneyham finds herself wide open, decides to take it. It's rebounded by Trojans and back in for 2. Got plenty of that clock chipped off. 3 seconds and counting. Got to put up the shots. They don't get it off in time. And that will be the end of the first. 24-7. A dominant first quarter performance by your Trojans. We'll take a break and we'll be right back on Girard Sports Live.
Farmers Bank is a proud supporter of Girard schools. For generations, Farmers Bank has worked with local leaders, businesses, and residents to help shape the future of Southeast Kansas. Farmers Bank is proud to have helped with the growth and development of the communities we serve. As partners in business and friends in life, Farmers Bank is looking forward to a brighter tomorrow. Farmers Bank, with locations in Hepler, Walnut, St. Paul, and Girard. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
At Fort Scott Community College, we understand that a scary part of figuring out your future isn't only answering the question, what should I do, but where do I belong? Maybe you belong here, studying animal science or learning about farm and ranch management. Maybe you belong here as part of Hounds Hoops on the hardwood. I don't know where you've been or where you're headed, but I know we're saving a spot for you because you belong at Fort Scott Community College.
Back on Girard Sports Live for the second quarter of action. Labette County starting off with the ball here as they work the perimeter. Trying to get it up is no good, blocked. Roberts recollects for Labette County and then back out of bounds. Another turnover for the Grizzlies, as that has pretty much been the name of the game so far.
And I mean, just the amount of steals and forced turnovers from the Trojans tonight is exactly what we had kind of talked about just in that pregame show, of getting back to how your dominant style of defense was right before the break.
Another three, good. That time Marley Sisney pulling the trigger from the near side. It's kind of hard to see as we're a little bit at a restricted angle here in the corner, but hopefully not too bad for you viewers at home. Once this second half boots up, you'll get to see pretty much the closest angle of Girard on this near side.
I think Sarah's doing a good job with keeping up with it, though.
Totally agree. Oran working on the perimeter. Mooneyham looking to drive. And it'll be another whistle blown. I believe this is a foul going against Labette County. Goes against McKinley Baker. That's her second. As we're going to see another new face on the floor here. Looks like Avery Brooks checking in. Briley Black gonna check out for her. So now Brooks hitting the floor for her first couple of minutes, and I think I was kind of deliberating on this during the break, but if you're Urlacher, you have to be a little bit smart, as there's a limit on the number of quarters that a player can play in a night. So if they've played in that junior varsity game, there's only so much time that they can actually spend in the varsity game.
And I would assume Coach Urlacher probably tried to take note of that just in those JV games of playing, I mean, just getting deeper and deeper into that bench for both JV and now in varsity, of just trying to make sure that you have players you can use while without your two top seniors, really.
Got a little bit of a official deliberation here after the whistle. Looks like they called jump ball initially, as two players hit the deck and were trying to grab hold of the ball. And that, I believe, is what the call they will stand with here as Sisney gets the inbound. Shot goes up, trickles around the rim, and comes back down in the hands of the Grizzlies. Loose ball was lost by Roberts, picked up by Keller, works it to Oran, who gets fouled, and now is headed to the line for two. Talk about physical players, and you could really just name off any 7 or 9 of these girls that are playing here tonight. I mean, anybody on that bench or anybody on the floor, they're all very physical and very capable of putting up numbers and just getting dirty.
And that's how Coach Urlacher has really, I mean, coached these girls just to play physical. I mean, that's how Girard plays basketball, of being rough and gritty, getting steals. And I think every single one of these girls would take a charge, no problem, knowing that they would have possession going the other way.
So I did some research as I was trying to refresh my knowledge, and it looks like, as we see the foul there, that's going against Kennedy Keller, her second. But it looks like you can only play 6 quarters in a night in Keisha basketball. So with Munkin and Brooks coming in, that actually counted for Munkin's, I believe, 5th quarter, because I'm assuming she probably played close to all 4 quarters in that junior varsity game. And then this would be Brooks's 5th. So,
and I agree with you, so it'll be interesting to see when Coach Herlocker will start to use, and if that is true, that both of those girls had played all 4 quarters in that JV game, of will they play in the second half of basketball, and how will that affect this team overall?
Shot goes up from the hands of Amelia Carnahan, and off the glass hard was no dice. So now Girard trying to work it down onto the offensive side. I think they said she stepped out of bounds. Oh.
A foul?
They called a foul against Carson Oran there, which I wasn't totally against the no call defensively, but I felt as if Oran did not showcase excessive physicality.
I mean, I didn't really see anything, and I think that's what Coach Herlocker was kind of arguing with the ref, was just that we've seen that dozens of times so far this season. So
in this game,
I mean, what really happened?
That gave Oran her 3rd, and so Mooneyham is going to check back in her place. Work it out to Carnahan, now up top to Davis, the freshman, trying to dish it down low to McCoy, who gets tangled up with Black, and we've got another foul called. This time it looks like it's going against Labette County. And that's Ginger Weathers. And now head coach Brianna Volmer is expressing her frustration with the foul call. I believe I read her lips and saying, let them play.
And I'm right there with her. There's been a lot of fouls just so far in this first half.
Keller takes a dribble, and the 3 won't go. It's rebounded into the hands of McCoy. But to add on to your point, it's been pretty equal physically, both sides. I don't think any one team is showcasing excessive physicality, and the foul number is staying about even as well. So realistically, some of those you probably could just let go because they're happening on both sides of the floor.
And I mean, I think one of the best things a ref can do is just let anyone play physical basketball and not make the game all about the calls.
3-point from the top of the key. No dice from Carnahan. Rebounded by the Trojans, Sisney, as she tries to cross up some defenders. Gets around him past midcourt. Brooks's pass to point blank to Keller. And now Erlacher is still pleading his case against the referee, trying to say that they're pressing up too close on the full court press. A stagnant game right now offensively. Both teams in a bit of a slump as Dickens works it across to Carnahan. Carnahan takes the 3, gets it. Keller back down the floor for Girard. Sisney over to Mooneyham on the perimeter as she looks to pass inside. Sisney, she's stripped, working her way into the paint. Baker took it across midcourt. Now Carnahan sets up the offense. Flips it over to Davis on the near side. Davis back up top, and they'll work it around to Carnahan again. Pass inside, and Briley Black is going to get called for a foul here. Reaching over the top of Amory Baker.
Looks like Trojans will check in, and I'm trying to find out who left. I believe that was
like
Munkins. Brooks.
Shot blocked by Mooneyham off the hands of Baker, and now that ball goes off her foot on the fast break down the floor. And actually, it looks like they said it was off of Labette last. I didn't see how exactly that panned out. But Briley Black gets the rebound. This one's tipped into the hands of Keller, who kicks out. Black for the mid-range two. That won't go either. Rebound into the hands of Baker. Carnahan down the floor. Davis tries to work it into the interior, and it's taken away by Black and Trojans. Sisney to Mooneyham. Mooneyham facing the double team right now and gets the foul call. Goes against Amelia Carnahan, her second.
That will be Labette's fourth foul, and so next foul, and the Trojans will be at the line.
That pass nearly taken away on its way to Brooks. Sisney finds herself wide open for the three. No dice. It makes its way to Mooneyham, who's going to reset here from the top of the key. Back over, Mooneyham finds Brooks. And now they keep it on the perimeter as Black and Trojans work their way around in the paint. That one's tipped and into the hands of Baker once again. Weathers tried to work it inside. Now here's Schull. Carnahan, Davis. Everybody's touched it on this possession for Labette County. Davis. Back over to Weathers. 10 on the shot clock. They work it inside. A wide open two look from Jackie Schull, as that one's good.
And for the Trojans, I mean, the scoring has slowed down in the second quarter, but I don't think their defense has really let Labette get back into this game going into the halftime.
Labette had 7 at the end of the first. Now with 8 in the second. And Mooneyham gets called for a foul on that play. She was the one to fall over, and Urlacher's trying to make the case here, as he's saying she was shoved down.
And I mean, just a lot of fouls, both teams in the bonus, and just seems like that also happened in the first quarter.
Another foul there called on the far side of the Labette half of the court. Goes against what looks to be number 32, Erin Dickens. Dickens with her second foul, 5th total team here in the second. So now Marley Sisney gets to take 2 from the stripe. First one off the back iron, no good. Now for the second. Gets it. 32-15. 1 second as they throw up a three. No good from Good. And that will be the end of the first half. 32-15 is the score. It's a 17-point lead going into half. This Girard team continuing to lay it on Labette, at least defensively, just not giving them any room to breathe. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with halftime stats and analysis on Girard Sports Live, presented by Croccan.
Since 1918, GN Bank has been the heart of our community. Big enough to meet all your banking needs, but small enough to offer that personal touch you deserve. From agricultural loans to home mortgages, GN Bank has the expertise, products, and service to help you thrive. With a pledge to treat others ethically, be adaptable, focus on customers, and invest in the communities they serve, GN Bank is committed to your success. The best place to bank and borrow, GN Bank, where community banking truly comes first. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Welcome to Homestead of Girard, assisted and independent living right here in our hometown. At Homestead, seniors enjoy compassionate care in a community designed for comfort. Licensed professionals provide support with daily activities, dressing, bathing, and medication management. Residents enjoy home-cooked meals and the comfort of their own private apartment. Call 620-724-6760 to schedule your tour today. Homestead of Girard, senior living with compassion, comfort, and community.
At Fort Scott Community College, we understand that a scary part of figuring out your future isn't only answering the question, what should I do, but where do I belong? Maybe you belong here as part of Fort Scott Community College's John Deere Tech program. Maybe you belong here as part of the perennial playoff-bound Greyhound baseball team. I don't know where you've been or where you're headed, but I know we're saving a spot for you because you belong at Fort Scott Community College.
More than just your neighborhood pharmacy, Mathis Drug is your hometown partner in health. With pharmacist Bria Scheibe and an experienced, highly trained staff, Mathis Drug is ready to serve you. And now, Mathis Drug offers comprehensive compounding, which is one of the few pharmacies in Southeast Kansas with this convenient on-site service. From medications to expert advice, call 620-261-9779. Mathis Drug Store, where community and care come together.
I was hoping to talk to someone about updating my insurance policy.
I am able to understand complete sentences.
That was a complete sentence?
I didn't understand that.
Why can't I just talk to a person?
No one talks to humans anymore.
Sometimes humans are just more helpful.
I hear you. Why don't we review your coverage with a super check?
Farm Bureau Financial Services. It's your future. Let's protect it.
Call Judd, Lori, Ginny, or Amber in Girard today.
Call's service is outstanding in their field, especially for those that are stuck, well, outstanding in their field. Call's carries a wide selection of farm, industrial, and heavy-duty tires, all from the best brands in the business. And they've got farm service trucks ready to go. Plus, Call's continues to be the place folks go for car and truck tires, repairs, oil changes, and so much more. If you're in the market for new tires in Southeast Kansas, make the right call to Call's Service, 620-724-4121. See more at callservicellc.com.
Back for the halftime show here on Girard Sports Live, presented by Croccan. This halftime show presentation is brought to you by GN Bank, where they've been providing customers with the highest quality financial services in a friendly and personal way. For over 100 years, personal, business, or agricultural needs, turn to GN Bank. Learn more at gn-bank.com. And as we look back at the first half, Kennar Eye Care is here to make sure you can see what you're looking at. Kennar Eye Care, with locations in Pittsburgh and Girard, is here to help their valued customers. Learn more at KennarEyeCare.com. Caleb, it's been a pretty interesting one. Bit of a slump scoring-wise for Girard in the second quarter, but in the first, it was just complete domination, and both quarters, it has been a domination on the defensive side. Going into this second half, seems like a pretty simple road, but what is this team going to need to do to close this one out?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is just continuing your style of defense. The girls have limited 15 points in, I mean, just 2 quarters, and so with how many fouls and with Labette's chance to be at the foul line, I mean, I think that's incredible of just how many steals they have. I have it tallied up that they have 6 steals so far in this first half, and so just if they can have another quarter like they had with that first quarter, I think there will be a running clock real quick, and I think we can get out of here with a pretty easy win over these Grizzlies.
After the game, stay tuned as we will have the post-game coaches interview presented by Community National Bank, and following that will be the boys game. So, of course, stay tuned on Girard Sports Live as we've got plenty of action coming to you here tonight and tomorrow as Girard takes on Anderson County at home. But like you said, Caleb, that style of defense has really been the easy way out for Girard, especially this season. The defense has really just been the highlight so far, being able to shut down some of the most lucrative offenses and just being able to put together some nice turnovers, stops, whatever it is, to keep this team in shape throughout any kind of situation in any kind of game. But Caleb, give me some of your stats that you saw in the first half that really kind of stood out to you.
I mean, just one of those things I had already said was that the girls had 6 steals, which typically at the end of games we'll end up with about 10 or so. So just, that's crazy thinking that a high school basketball team can have 10 steals in one game, and that's what they really average. But looking at some of the scoring, the leading scorer tonight so far, I believe, is Marley Sisney with 8, and she is tied with Kennedy Keller also with 8. Following them is Briley Black and Augie Mooneyham both with 5. Callie Trezona has 4, and Carson Orand has 1. So decently even scoring so far tonight, and just really everyone getting a piece of the rock, just really doing a great job of spreading the scoring. And if you're Labette County, you just don't know who's going to score next, and so it's just one of the things that's really helped this team on the offensive side of things.
Yeah, and I mean, we've kind of said that all season, talking about how pretty much everybody on this floor that we're going to see tonight for the Trojans is capable. It's capable of the same things that the starters are capable of. But one thing that stood out to me was the Orand one. She's coming off of a really hot game earlier this week against Galena. I believe she put up over 20 points in that contest, just being super dominant. And then, of course, stepping into this one, getting into a little bit of foul trouble early has limited her play time. So that's been something to keep an eye on, and that's something that we're going to be keeping an eye on not only with this Girard Trojan squad, but with the Labette County side as well, as it's being called pretty well both ways.
And I mean, without Carson so far in this first half, really, I mean, she's been on the bench just with that foul trouble very early on. And so one of the most interesting, just looking at the scoring chart so far, is the fact that Marley and Kennedy are our highest scorers. And so just really proving why they are starters for this team, that if you have Carson, who hasn't been playing a lot, and both Maddie and Erica having to sit out this game due to injury, I mean, having those two really step up and take those lead scorer roles whenever we have that full offensive group and the full starting lineup in, those two are more of the players that kind of just get the buckets when you need them instead of being those leading scorers. And so just an impressive sight to see of them stepping up and really leading this Trojan team so far in the first half.
Yeah, and most of those points, you know, just thinking back on it, it has been on the transition. It's been on the turnover, the steal, whatever it is, loose ball. We've seen a lot of plays develop off of somebody gathering up a loose ball or poking it out and picking it up and then flipping it to either Keller or Sisney, who just happens to be playing at that up top position and getting the break on offense. That's been their style of play so far tonight. That's where they found the most success, especially in the first quarter. So I'd like to see that style of defense start to come back so that the defense can turn into the offense once again. Urlacher's been saying it all season in his interviews, talking about defense turning to offense and how that's been playing to the advantage of this team. I'd like to see that be something that they really try to accentuate instead of just trying to force that offense to work in some of these games. obviously you're up by 17. It's going to be time to start working on some of the fundamentals here, I would say probably in the second half. But when you were in a game like that in the second quarter, I feel like it wasn't time to let up just yet.
And I mean, just like how you were saying, I think the Trojans had maybe 8 or just 6 points just quick off of, I mean, it was within 2 minutes that I can remember in that first half of just easy, quick transition basketball due to their defense. And so that'll be a big part of the scoring of just getting those stops and getting those steals and beating the Labette County Grizzlies just down the floor.
Girard starts off with the ball. Sisney takes a 3 and drains it right out the gate.
I believe a foul was called. Looks like an off-ball foul on Mooneyham.
They are going to count the basket. But no, it's an off-ball foul against Labette County's 24, which was Keely Good. So now a little bit of a bonus possession here. And Black tips it out of bounds off the missed 3 from Mooneyham. And you can tell on her face, you know she wanted that, since that was right in her hot spot.
And that's what, every time you see Augie Mooneyham shoot from there, she looks like one of those characters in the 8-bit basketball games that you play where they just have that hot spot and it's almost like a program machine.
Over to Mooneyham. Black now finds herself in the corner. Mooneyham from the wheelhouse, dribbles off the rim and out. Oran was trying to gather the rebound, but it's taken away by Baker, who has been all over the boards for Labette County. One of the real highlights so far for that rebounding defense and offense. 3 taken by Davis is well short. Taken away by the Trojans, and now Oran works it to Mooneyham down the floor. Finds herself at the block. Can't get the first one to go. Kick out to Oran. And we've got a stoppage here as player lost her shoe, which I know that's the rule, but you would think an opposing team loses the shoe or whatever and the play would continue at least until the bucket or something was made, you know.
I mean, that's just what kind of makes sense.
Like, I would see it kind of like an injury where if the team gathers the ball, then you get that free stoppage without costing you a timeout. But down on the other side, Good takes a shot, gets fouled on the way to the rim. And now Keller gets given her 3rd foul, which is going to be something to keep an eye on, you know, as we start dipping into this bench and into the later parts of the game. A couple of players getting into some foul trouble. We'll see what Coach Erlocker decides to go with, and if he reaches even deeper into his benches. I believe he's got another one available, which last week, or on Tuesday, was Reagan Oplotnik.
And I mean, this is just one of the things that, from Coach Erlocker, it always pays off. And one of the things that we see is just that in those last couple of minutes, whenever this team is up by 30, or if there's a running clock in the 4th quarter, Coach Erlocker makes sure that he puts those players in. And so these girls that are coming off the bench that we haven't really seen play too many crucial minutes in varsity, we've still seen them just late in those 4th quarter minutes. And so just that experience has really probably helped them tonight, just really pushing past that newness to playing at that varsity level, because they've already been here just in those 4th quarter minutes instead of playing throughout the entire game.
Love that breakdown there, Caleb. Coming out of this break, it'll be the same players on the floor for both squads. Oran gets the inbound, and now we'll set up the offense on the perimeter. Keller and Sisney working together. Sisney for 3 as she's heating up. 38-19. Marley Sisney having a night as Black nearly gets the takeaway. And they're going to call her for a foul.
Coach Urlacher looked like he wanted a jump ball with that.
And I don't blame him. I think maybe there was a bit of a body-to-body collision there with Black, and I forget who it was for Labette County, but her hand was in there on the ball, and that was called from the opposite side. He's probably just a little disappointed it didn't go in his direction, and so is Black now, who's up to 3 fouls.
I mean that's
once
3
again.
fouls, or 3 players in foul trouble with 3 fouls each, and so just how deep is this bench and how much of a risk does Coach Urlacher want to take here?
We've already got Munkin and Brooks for a quarter, and like I said, assuming they played all 4 quarters of the JV game, they've only got 1 left, so he's probably looking to ride out some of these players at least until the 4th quarter so that they can start to work those ladies back in, because you'd hate to take that risk here in the 3rd and then have a player foul out in the 4th and not be able to replace him.
And I think that's the biggest thing that Coach Urlacher probably even talked to Carson Oran mainly of, just, hey, you've got 3 fouls, make sure that you're playing it safe, even if we have to wait till this 4th quarter till they can sub in some of those other players. But if you lose Kennedy or you lose Carson or you lose Marley, those are your 3 players that are used to playing at this varsity level throughout the entire game, and so it's just going to be interesting to see how this bench player can, or these bench players can fit into those starting roles.
And I'll tell you what, more fouls coming your way here on Varsity Sports Live. Amory Baker collected her 3rd, followed by Kaylin McCoy getting her 1st for Labette County. This has just been a whistle bonanza as that 3 comes up short for Mooneyham. Back the other way with Carnahan, and now working it inside, trying to get it to McCoy. Comes loose. Mooneyham now going quickly. Back up top to Oran. And now down to the elbow with Trojans as Oran hits the deck. Fighting for it against Carnahan, who breaks loose. Taking it down the floor for Labette County was Good. Good finds herself, far side wing, drains the 3. Now things starting to get a little more interesting as this Labette County team is really keeping up with Girard.
And I mean, they're keeping up and they're starting to cut in the lead slowly. I mean, going into the half, Girard had about a 20-point lead, and now that's only cut down to 14. So just some quick 3s by Labette County has really kind of started to give them a little bit of hope. So if you're Girard, the biggest thing is you don't want to let Labette County get in single digits within you. I mean, you want to make sure that you can keep this lead, and I think for teams, the biggest thing that is if you see you're in single digits behind, that's whenever you start to have hope, and that's whenever your confidence starts to come back.
Single digits keeps the game alive up until, I would say, pretty much 30 seconds. Until it's down to no more shot clock, single digits is certainly doable. But this breaking the action is brought to you by Salon 214, now open at 107 North Ozark in Girard. Take a time out to pamper yourself with Vanessa and her team at Salon 214, and take a time out to check out Salon 214 on Facebook. 4:18 remaining here in the 3rd. Trojans lead by 14. Urlacher called what seemed to be a much needed timeout as Trojans gets it down low, kicks out to Sisney, and now they'll set up the offense from there. Mooneyham working it over. Oran finds herself wide open, nearly gets it, but off the rim on the 3 ball.
And I mean, for the Trojans, something that you would like to see is maybe working the ball down low and just getting some of those easy buckets in the paint that you got in those first couple of quarters, just keeping up with the scoring if the Grizzlies are starting to crawl back.
McCoy, her shot blocked by Trojans. And now back the other direction as Keller checks up for 3. Won't go, and it's rebounded by Davis. Davis makes a break for the baskets. Off the glass hard. No over the back call there, as that was Emery Baker coming in hot and gets the rebound.
And I mean, Marley kind of stopped playing and threw her hands up because Baker kind of jumped on her back, and even Coach Herlocker was throwing his hands in the air, just frustrated.
I think Sisney was just a little bit rattled after it too. It was a pretty
you would think
good
a pretty
collision.
blatant call.
And that pass taken away. Oran, I think she was looking deep for Trojans and maybe just didn't get it there. But back down to the other side of the floor, it's Aaron Dickens. And now you start to think, you know, letting up there in the second quarter has begun to cost you just a little bit for the Trojans.
And I think so far really in this third quarter, the scoring hasn't fully come back to the Trojans. It's just kind of been more of that second quarter attitude, and so just messy basketball really just, I mean, example of that right there, just turnovers that are unnecessary that are letting these Labette County Grizzlies just kind of make their way back into this game.
Well, and the roles have just completely reversed here. The last three possessions have ended in either a quick three miss to a rebound by Labette or a turnover from Girard, and it's just been Labette kind of dominating on the floor completely these last like 3 or 4 minutes. Girard's fighting for their lives, trying to get some points to fall. They've gotten some good looks from three, but I feel like at this point in the game, you're starting to let up on scoring. The threes aren't starting to fall. Maybe you just start to work back to the fundamentals, say, hey, let's work it inside, because when you're shooting from the perimeter, that ball comes real hard off the rim. If you've got two rebounders, which you've been great at in the first and the second quarter, rebounding the ball, getting those second chances, you've got some great rebounders on your team, and Sisney, Trojans, and honestly, all 5 of the ladies on the floor for Girard can get in there and get a board. But you've got to give yourself a chance to rebound it, get underneath, try to lay it off the glass. If it doesn't go, get a rebound and try again, just kind of restart from scratch. Just like you said, messy basketball so far here in the third. Got to pick something up here if you're Girard. As they try to work it inside, loose ball, Labette County picks it back up, tries for a 2, won't go, and we've got a foul called as Keller hits the deck.
And I mean, just fouls galore it seems like in this game. You can't go a couple possessions without one, but the refs are definitely calling it both ways, and that's what's really caused this game to become interesting. I mean, number 40 Baker, that is her 4th foul now in the third quarter, so just one of the starters for Labette County. It'll be interesting to see if she'll come back really until those crucial minutes in the fourth quarter.
Baker, one of the starters for Labette County, like that shot out of Keller, just doesn't quite go. Off the glass and off of both sides of the rim as well. And that pass down deep to Davis is off of her hands and out of bounds. So now if you're Girard, you get to kind of reset here. Labette falling back into a half-court press. Briley Black is going to check in. Looks like for Augie Mooneyham, as she looks just exhausted coming off this floor.
And I think Augie's played a good amount of minutes so far in this game tonight, so definitely a reason to be exhausted.
A little bit different than coming off of the bench as that designated 6. Ram makes a very tricky shot down there at the base. Almost curves it in from around the backboard. As now Davis works it in. That shot blocked by Oran. And we've got a jump ball. I would believe it's a jump ball. I didn't see.
I think you're right, but it will stay with the Grizzlies.
Back to Carnahan, and she's fouled. So Carnahan headed to the line for 2. That is the 4th foul against Carson Orand, which puts her in some immediate trouble.
And so you got Carson with 4, Briley Black with 3. I believe who's that third? I believe there's a third Trojan that is in foul trouble.
And now, I don't know what's happening here. They checked in Augie Mooneyham for Briley Black. And now Black is going to check back in for Carson Orand. I think initially they were trying to get Orand out of the game because she had 4 fouls, but unfortunately had to check Mooneyham back in because once again, you got to save Brooks and Munkin for that 4th quarter.
And I mean, Augie has to be exhausted, but she got a little bit of a breather, and I think her biggest thing is that Augie is one of these only players on the floor that aren't in foul trouble. I believe she only has 1.
This pass, it was a fake pass, as fighting underneath for it was Jackie Scholl.
It's like Briley Black got the jump ball, should head back the Trojans' way.
Sisney tries to kick it over to Mooneyham, who saves it, but it seems as she may have stepped out of bounds in the process. Either that or the end of the ball just barely grabbed that sideline. Great effort from Mooneyham, but just unfortunate result as now we dip into the final 70 seconds of the 3rd quarter. Davis works it, Good works it inside, and another 2 added on as now we are into 11 points as the difference. 3 ball goes up, comes back down for Sisney, who fights through physicality for the 2. Great answer. Davis out to Carnahan. Carnahan over to McCoy, who gets the shot from mid-range, right side of the key. 30 seconds remaining here in the 3rd. No more shot clock as they take it down the floor, and we've got a jump ball called at midcourt. Good showcase of sportsmanship, all those girls helping each other up. Like to see that in kind of a foul trouble-esque game. That can get a little bit chippy.
And I think that's the biggest thing, is that you don't want to let things get too loose, even with the amount of fouls that have been called tonight.
Davis, that was Good. Kicks it across the court, off the glass, won't go. And we've got a foul called on the floor. This one's going against Labette County. That goes against McKinley Baker, her 3rd, so puts her in some kind of trouble.
That'll send Briley Black to the line with the Trojans in the bonus.
Just looking at the comparison between the 2 benches, Grizzlies having a bit of a deeper spread as Black makes her 1st. But just being able to dip a little bit deeper if they want to. Second one off the rim is grabbed by Keller and tipped almost out of bounds as Sisney recovers. 1 second left. Mooneyham pulls the trigger, and off the top of the backboard, no dice. 12-point lead headed into the 4th. Last 8 minutes of the ball game here for the girls contest in Labette County. We will take a break, and we'll be right back after this.
Since 1918, GN Bank has been the heart of our community. Big enough to meet all your banking needs, but small enough to offer that personal touch you deserve. From agricultural loans to home mortgages, GN Bank has the expertise, products, and service to help you thrive. With a pledge to treat others ethically, be adaptable, focus on customers, and invest in the communities they serve, GN Bank is committed to your success. The best place to bank and borrow, GN Bank, where community banking truly comes first. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
I was raised in a small town, and there was a lot of people who took time to invest in me. And so when we decided to open up our offices, we want to make sure that we're pouring back into the community that's giving to us. We care. We want to be involved. We want to have a passion for what you have a passion for. We want to be able to give back. And that's the foundation. That's why we're more than just insurance.
Back on for Girard Sports Live here in Labette County High School. O'Rand will actually be seated for the start of this fourth quarter as she is sitting in foul trouble at 4. This pass is tipped and taken away by the Grizzlies.
And Drake, something to note just going into this fourth quarter is that every single quarter both teams have been in the bonus, and so just really what that means is that there's been a lot of fouls called this game, and so fouls will definitely be a part of the outcome of this game of just what players will still be left at the end of this fourth quarter.
Davis around the perimeter. They try to work it inside. Nearly saved by Good. And it sticks out of bounds. Keller gets it into Sisney. Now down the floor, facing that half-court pressure as Trojans plays up. Gets the pass, kick out, around to Sisney. Thought they were going to pull the trigger from the perimeter. As Mooneyham now directing traffic from the point. Over to Keller. Keller looking to drive, kick out to Sisney from the corner. Yes!
There it is. That is Marley's 4-3 from that spot, really. I mean, she has made almost all her threes just from, the corners.
Not much of a point shooter, but man, can she hit stuff from the deep wing. Davis, shot clock at 12, as the loose ball from the elbow dropped by Carson Moore and picked up by Mooneyham. Over to Sisney across midcourt. Back to Mooneyham. An interesting style of defense here from Labette County as I'm trying to figure it out. Looks to be almost like an abbreviated man defense.
Labette County just seems to really be falling into the paint a lot on defense, and so just leaving the Trojans open 4-3, and that's where the Trojans have found a decent amount of success tonight. I think the Trojans have had about 7 threes in this game.
A wide open look from Mooneyham does not fall as she faked out a defender there underneath the basket. And once again, Mooneyham, I saw her waving her face there in the first quarter. She was looking like she was getting a little bit warm. It is a little bit stale here in the arena. As I'll say, it doesn't feel like a lot of air movement, so that can kind of get to you on body temp. And it looks like Munkin is queued up to get in for Mooneyham, so this shot is pretty big for number 24.
And I think Augie has been playing, it seems like almost every minute so far tonight, and so it's just, she's got to be exhausted.
And there we go. That is a fortunate break, as stepping out of bounds was Kylie Roberts of Labette County, so Munkin will check in. And now Mooneyham, they were messing around down there. It looked like she was falling over. Boatman was giving her a big hug for her effort on the floor. And Davis gets fouled on the other side by Munkin.
And if you're Munkin there, we've had fouls all night, but at least make
them earn it.
Make them earn it. That's just as simple as that.
On that break, you probably can't contest it without getting called anyways, so make sure you make them miss. I say this pretty much in every broadcast, but back when I was playing, they always said if you're going to foul them underneath the basket, they better not make it. The 2 free throws fall for Labette County, keeping it at a 14-point game. Munkin receives the pass on the far side. Loose ball into the hands of McKinley Baker. So now Erlacher is going to pull Oran to the scores table and try to get her in quickly. Out of bounds on the Grizzlies as Oran is going to check in for Munkin. Relay down the floor. Trozona's shot just can't find the bottom of the bucket, but Black fights hard and gets the jump ball. Forces Labette County to use their possession arrow.
I mean, so far in this fourth quarter, both teams have definitely slowed down with scoring, and if you're the Trojans, the biggest thing is just as long as you can keep pace, you'll be all right to end this game.
Loose ball again works its way into the hands of Davis, who lays it off the glass, and a quick 4-0 there from the Grizzlies. Makes it a 10-point game. And that's the scary distance that we were talking about earlier. If you're the Trojans, offensively, that's been your kryptonite. Defensively, when they get to set up, it's a bit different, but you're giving yourself too many transition opportunities, or giving the Grizzlies too many transition opportunities, I should rather say.
And that's the thing, it's just that if you're the Trojans, you're starting to feel the pressure now of you've got about 5 minutes left in the game, and the Grizzlies are only down by 10, and so if you're the Trojans, the biggest thing is how will you respond on the offensive side of things. And tonight they've been playing great defense without two of your more, you don't want to say defensive players, but Erica Boatman and Maddie Kessler are both players known for just getting those blocks inside, and so without two of your starters, without two of those defensive forces, how will you respond offensively and on the defensive side if you can continue to limit the scoring from these Grizzlies?
Working it in, this half-court press has caused a couple of issues here with Girard. They work against it very well on this try, but now another turnover. Davis picks it up for the Grizzlies, facing the trap on the outside, trying to find a receiver for a pass. Gets it off to Carnahan, who pitches it back out to Davis. 20 on the shot clock as Carnahan drives, flips it over the top and in for Amory Baker, who brings it within the single digits. Over 20 points scored for Girard in the first quarter, and now they only sit at 49 through the last three.
And I think if you are Carson Oran, Marley Sisney, Kennedy Keller, you're used to playing in games where you have that pressure, where you are playing in those last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter where there's pressure on the line at the varsity level. And so the biggest thing we'll see, can these other girls that normally come off the bench, can they step up to that level and continue to play whenever the pressure's on?
Trozona in the corner, over to Oran, who gets ran into by Davis. Something to note is that Amelia Carnahan is at 3 fouls. That was Davis's first. Quite impressive to have 0 going into this last half of the fourth quarter.
And honestly, this fourth quarter has been the quarter with the least amount of fouls so far in the game.
Up top to Mooneyham. 15 on the shot clock as they work it inside. Keller from the long paint. Can't get it. Rebound is out of bounds. Oran lets it coast, and now Girard gets an inbound. Oran to inbound it here. Gets it into Mooneyham. Sisney on the close side wing. She's been one of the leading scorers, if not the leading scorer so far tonight.
She definitely has been that leading scorer.
Mooneyham's pass inside. Trojans is a little low, but she recovers and gets fouled on her way to the rim. Trojans will be shooting 2 here, as that foul is dished against McKinley Baker, her 4th. So now Baker in trouble for the Grizzlies.
And interesting enough, we had talked about how fouls will definitely come into this game, and I would have think that someone would foul out by now, but I mean, no one is. We have plenty of players in foul trouble, but nobody has fouled out quite yet.
Well, and looking at just the foul counter for teams, as Trojans knocks down her 2nd, goes 1 for 2 on that visit. Girard's only sitting at 1 foul through this quarter, and Labette County at 4, so that puts Girard in bonus, which makes the Grizzlies' job just a little bit harder trying to come back from this 9-point deficit, which seemingly is getting even more difficult by the 2nd as well, with another turnover there.
And I mean, that's the thing, it's just the clock's ticking down, and with Girard's 20-point lead really in the first quarter, you really just start to think, will it be enough for the Grizzlies to come back?
Sisney hands it off to Oran, sets a screen. Oran wheels her way around, kicks it back into Keller. That shot won't go, but she's fouled on the 2nd effort.
And there is that 5th foul that we had talked about that will send the Trojans to the line every time going forward.
And that will be it for McKinley Baker. Right as you said it, Caleb, only about 20 seconds later, we get our first foul out of the game at 2:21 left in the 4th. First one from Keller online, but off the front of the rim. Nine-point game, Keller to make it double digits once again. Good.
And I mean, we had talked about how the pressure starts to be applied whenever this Labette County team gets within single digits, but the Trojans are playing great basketball just to keep it consistent and keep that lead of about 8 or 10 throughout the last 4 minutes of this 4th quarter.
McCoy found a wide open lane there for Labette. A turnover here from Girard's Oran. Eight-point game now, as a made bucket here from Labette County could really apply some pressure. The end around won't go. Rebound into the hands of Keller. A big-time rebound from Kennedy Keller as she takes it all the way down inside the perimeter, but another takeaway as Davis looks to take off, and now Carson Oran is going to be called for her 5th foul.
That will be it for Carson tonight. So Briley Black checks back in, and I believe she still only has 3. So
Oran just unable to really get the necessary minutes, being in foul trouble from the get-go. And that's kind of the con from a very aggressive style defender like Oran.
And I mean, with a crew of refs that have called a lot of fouls tonight, Carson's not used to being able to not get away with certain fouls that she might get.
6-point game now after the takeaway and bucket from Carnahan. Keller with a big-time answer. Shuts down some of that momentum as we enter the final 60 seconds. Labette County gonna have to push the pace here. 8-point game as they work it to Carnahan. Back across. Here's Good. Trying to find an opening. They work it down low. Davis for 2. Dances and into the hands of Trojans on the board. Mooneyham gets past 2 defenders. Foul called on Good. That's Good's 2nd. And will actually send Mooneyham to the line with bonus playing a factor, and this is when that foul count is really starting to punish Labette County. Only one player fouled out, not a lot in immediate trouble. But I'll tell you what, this could be killer.
And I think the Trojans are still up by 3 possessions with 38 seconds left. And so, I mean, if Augie Mooneyham makes this 3, the best that Labette County can do is with 3 threes, I mean, they can tie the game, and that's about it. And we've seen the 3-point shooting from Labette County, so it really just depends on what girl will shoot it for the opposing team. But as you were saying earlier, as every second, every minute continues to just fade away, it's starting to look more grim for these Grizzlies.
Coming down the wire, 38 seconds, like you said. It's a 8-point game. Mooneyham with her second free throw here on this visit. Misses on that try as well. And now a loose ball. The one thing you couldn't do if you're Labette County after getting the rebound and having an 0 for 2 performance from a shooter out of Girard as well. And now Sisney will get her visit here.
I mean, for Labette County, you immediately have to foul after just giving up a possession.
Yeah, it dips you into the final 30 seconds. You would have liked to go down and make a 3 or a bucket regardless if you were Labette County and try to apply some kind of pressure and with the free throws. But Sisney knocks down her first. 9-point game. 10.
And there it is. I mean, now the game's back to a 4-possession game with only 30 seconds really left on this clock.
Carnahan's going to look to drive, kick out, back around. Davis tries to work it inside, and that's stripped, but a foul called in the process. As they'll get 2 free throws out of Amory Baker, who I also believe is in foul trouble. Surprised to see that Brooks and Munkin haven't gotten any more minutes, especially now at this stage in the game. 20 seconds remaining, a 10-point lead. Urlacher really wants to try and submit this one, though, and not let anything get past him. Foul called. We'll send Marley Sisney to the line. First one good from Sisney, as she has been near flawless tonight. I mean, just lighting it up from all areas of the court. On the inside, outside the perimeter, really representing her shooting skill as well. Ten seconds left as this clock will just pretty much drain. Davis takes a 3. Air ball out of bounds at 3 on the clock. And now Labette County will pull off here as Keller gets the inbound. That will do it. Back-to-back victories for the Trojans this week as they head into Friday against Anderson County, which will be their 3rd game this week, playing Tuesday against Galena, today against Labette County, and then Anderson County tomorrow as well. The girls playing some pretty traditional Girard Trojan basketball.
And I mean, just getting back to how the girls have been playing before break, how I've seen this team play for the past 2 or 3 years. that's just the biggest thing going forward of, yes, there are some difficult teams and difficult, just stretches of basketball there in the tournament weekend following, but just finally getting back to it, and that's the biggest thing for this Girard team.
Yeah, just looking forward to seeing that and hopefully to see it continue throughout the rest of this season as we advance in this schedule. Just kind of looking forward at the immediate games. Obviously, Anderson County tomorrow, Columbus next Tuesday, followed by next Friday against Riverton again. And then that takes us all the way to Frontenac on the 17th, Baxter Springs on the 20th, and Colgan again on the 24th. This is going to be kind of that repeat month for this Trojan squad, that they're going to get to see a lot of duplicate opponents and get to see how they've improved, in this, first month after break.
And so I think the big thing is just if you can get your 2 seniors back, get the entire team healthy again, all you got to do from there is just see how you can match up against some of those tougher opponents. And we've got a couple more games that may not be as challenging up until that time where we're playing against Colgan or Frontenac or Riverton even, but just seeing how you can compete against those 3 teams that handed you some of those CNC losses. So it'll be interesting to see how the team plays going forward.
This post-game show is brought to you by Eastside Cafe. Experience the best breakfast in town 6 days a week at 120 South Ozark Street in Girard. Eastside Cafe, a proud supporter of Trojan Athletics. You can call them as well at 620-724-4232. As we roll into this one, Player of the Game is brought to you by tonight's Girard Booster Club Game Day sponsor, which is the Producers Co-op Association. For more than 75 years, PCA has proudly served Southeast Kansas and Southwest Missouri as a full-service, member-owned agricultural cooperative. Right here in Girard, PCA is proud to support local families, schools, and community events, investing in the neighbors they serve every day. Visit PCA at any one of our locations, including Girard, Fort Scott, Liberal, and Moundville. Caleb, any ideas as to who this Player of the Game is going to? And I think I could probably guess it.
The easiest option is just Marley Sisney. She scored from pretty much anywhere on the court. She ended the game with 23 points, just really leading this team in offense. And then on the defensive side of things, she definitely had a handful of steals, and really she had a big block there in the first half, just really all over the court. The only other person that I'd like to give a shout out to tonight is just Augie Mooneyham. Really, she played, it seemed like, almost the entire game and was there whenever the team needed her. So those are the 2 shout outs I would like to give tonight.
Yeah, Sisney really kind of stepping into that big-time role player, big-time scoring role player. We really got to see her capabilities with O'Rand having hit the bench for an extensive period of time, being in some foul trouble there towards the beginning of the game. Sisney stepped up and got the job done. You're missing as well Maddie Kester, who's another one of your big-time scorers. That just kind of proves what we've been saying this entire season, Caleb, which is that all of these players are very capable of doing what those starting 5 on the floor or even those top 2 scorers are doing for this Trojan squad. So Marley Sisney, props to her for getting tonight's Player of the Game. But I do like your honorable mentions with Augie Mooneyham. She played her heart out tonight. Once again, O'Rand having to take an extensive period of time on the bench, being in foul trouble there early on. So with that, we'll go ahead and roll into our post-game coaches interview with head coach Urlacher of the girls team. Coach, thank you again for joining us here on Girard Sports Live. Once again, want to start off with saying congratulations on the victory tonight. It was a hard-fought one. You're dealing with kind of an abbreviated bench, more than usual, I should say, and then the foul trouble as well. How did you guys fight through that and really be able to work this one out by the difference that you were able to?
It was one of those deals, lots of guts, had, probably the biggest unsung hero other than, Marley Sisney had what a night for her offensively and confidence-wise. And, when we needed to get the press broke, she made some really good plays to get fouled or get the ball in the right hand to the right person. And big-time night for her. Callie, Trojans, tonight against, 6 foot and 5'10", and she stepped up big time for us. In the absence, our 2 seniors are also they're our leading scorers, and they're also our big, strong people. We put on the other team's big, strong people. So, we miss them offensively, but we probably tonight against a team like Labette, we probably miss them even more defensively. And so she stepped up, had a big night. Briley Black, freshman. I don't start freshmen very often, and she hit a big shot early in that game and held her own throughout, I thought, as well. And you come to Labette, and it's going to be physical. You try to explain that to kids, and you try to let them know that, hey, this is what's going to happen. But until that person you're riding up underneath you and you're trying to dribble the ball down court, you really don't get it. Just overall a really workman's night. A lot of, I said, a lot of guts in the locker room. I felt like the kids showed a lot of guts. Every time that lead got down to 8, we answered and we got that score back up. I got down and I saved my timeouts like gold. If you ever notice, I tried to hang on to them, especially if the veteran group. I try to let them play through some stuff and save those timeouts to the end. And since I did have some kids in that usually aren't in at different times, I called my timeouts, burnt some timeouts earlier, and they played scrappy defense, so we were in some tight spots at different times where I wanted to save a possession. And man, I got down to that last timeout, and I realized why I do what I do, and not do that unless I just have to. Tonight, with our 2 seniors out, what a gutsy performance by everybody. Carson Oran, poor kid. I tell you what, I don't know that she had 2 fouls, and I know I'm not supposed to say that on the air or whatever, but I'm going to have her back on that one. She wasn't even around the last foul, so I don't know how they pulled that one off, and they were shoving her out of bounds on another one. So, but you have those hard luck nights where it just seems like you're in the wrong place at the right time, and they just look at your jersey, I guess, instead of the person that actually did it and call it on you. So lots of adversity, and we've had a lot of adversity this year. Haven't always responded well to it. We responded well to adversity tonight.
Well, Coach, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. You're missing Maddie, Erica, and Carson. Had to take kind of an extended period on the bench, being in that foul trouble, trying to save her. But we've been saying on the broadcast all season, all these players are very capable of stepping up in their own fashion, and tonight really proved that with missing what seems to be your top 3 scorers, and Marley Sisney and Kennedy Keller really stepping up. Is there something that, is that something that you guys are working on in practice or behind the scenes? It just seems like you guys are such a close-knitted group and working together in kind of like a perfect simulation.
Yeah, we try to simulate. When we play those really, really good teams, it's hard for us. We got good young kids, and they're working their tails off for us. But, I don't know that there's another player in the state that can simulate Jacayla Davis, But, it's one of those things that, I want them all to believe, and we all have to believe in each other. We all have to trust each other. We try to build that. We do a lot of team building stuff. We do a lot of talking, and we have a tough game. We sit in a room, we talk about it. Like, hey, what do we need to do? And everything's on the table. It's not just a coach telling players what's going to happen. And they've each and every time they responded well. They come into the room, they know what they need to work on. Nobody's like, well, hey, it's everybody else's fault. We all take ownership of it, and you do. When the chips are down, if you're going to stay together and you're going to keep things together, you've got to stay together, and you've got to own your mistakes. You got to look yourself in the mirror, and you got to come back better. And I think we did tonight. Again, very pressure situation, a situation where we haven't handled well, and we did what we had to do tonight to win.
Well, Coach, once again, congratulations on the victory tonight, and we look forward to tomorrow against Anderson County.
No rest for the weary. you go a couple hour trips away from home, and then you have a third game on a Friday. I hope we have some stuff in the tank. I don't know where, we have a great manager, Todd Brines, does a great job with our injuries, so he'll be able to reevaluate tomorrow, see where we're at, and hopefully we'll get a little reinforcements back. But regardless of what happens, very, very proud of everybody that played tonight.
Well, thanks again for joining us on the post-game show. We'll go ahead and send it to a break here. That post-game coach's interview is brought to you by Community National Bank and Trust, serving the area for 30 years. Stop in soon to pick up your very own Girard Trojan Instant Issue Mascot Debit Card. Community National Bank and Trust is a proud supporter of Girard Schools. Learn more online at mybankcnb.com. We'll take a second and be right back after this for the boys' game.
Community National Bank and Trust has been serving the area for more than 30 years with a strong commitment to the highest quality leadership and banking services. Missing that human touch with your bank? Come talk to a real person at Community National Bank and Trust. We're your local bank that's small enough to know you, yet big enough to offer the best products. Community National Bank and Trust, federally insured, locally awesome. Member FDIC.
Whether you're trying to make the most of the next harvest, navigating a changing business landscape, or planning for the next chapter in your life, the professionals at Prime Accounting Solutions are here to help. With 10 locations, Prime Accounting offers convenient, friendly accounting and tax services at a fair price. Payroll, bookkeeping, business planning, personal tax filing, and more. And now Prime is the place to go for insurance. Trojan fans can find us at 408B North Grand in Pittsburgh or call 620-232-7305. To find a location near you, go to primeaccounting.net.
You've enjoyed life. Over the years, your community has become your passion, something you hope future generations get to experience, just as you have. That's why the Girard Area Community Foundation has worked hard to help fulfill charitable goals and inspire generosity, meeting the needs of the communities they serve. Creating a legacy fund with GACF ensures what you leave behind is an effective and lasting improvement in the community you love so dearly. Make plans to visit GirardAreaFoundation.com, preserving traditions for those who follow.
Producers Cooperative Association is the area leader in providing quality agricultural products, services, and markets. PCA has what you need to maximize your operation with a full-service agronomy department, grain origination, handling and storage, bulk fuels and lubricants, propane, a jam-packed farm store, and livestock feeds in bulk or bagged. PCA is proud to call Girard home and to support Trojan athletics. Stop by or see more online at pcacoop.com.
On to the boys' game here on Girard Sports Live. This pregame show is brought to you by Community National Bank and Trust, serving the area for over 30 years. Stop in soon to pick up your very own Girard Trojan Instant Issue Mascot Debit Card. Community National Bank and Trust is a proud supporter of Girard Schools, equal housing lender, member FDIC. Learn more online at mybankcnb.com. And as we look at these keys to the game, they are brought to you by Producers Co-op Association, tonight's Girard High School Booster Club game sponsor. More than 75 years, PCA has proudly served Southeast Kansas and Southwest Missouri as a full-service, member-owned agricultural cooperative. Right here in Girard, PCA is proud to support local families, schools, and community events, investing in the neighbors they serve every day. Visit PCA at any one of our locations, including Girard, Fort Scott, Liberal, and Moundville. Caleb, this has been a team who has been a little bit on the struggle bus as of late, coming out of the break. They actually had a losing record going into earlier this week. Now looking to really start that bounce back process, and they're facing off against a team who beat them earlier this season in the Burlington tournament.
Yeah, and I think this is a competitive team. There's a ton of athletes on this team. They are one of the most competitive teams in the SEK League, and so it'll be a difficult game for Girard to really pull this one off, and that's just the tough thing about it, of that this is a good team. There's no way to sugarcoat that, and so Girard will have to try their best to really look at this game and try to find ways to make it competitive, because like you were saying in the Burlington tournament, this was definitely a rough one for the Trojans.
Well, and one thing that the Trojans do have going for them is that fourth quarter spark. That has been the key to all the success that they've had so far this season, and they have just really been able to kick it into gear there towards the final couple of minutes. That first and second quarter, though, that's going to be kind of the dictator. The first half has been the reason for losses and the reason for victories as well. So just being able to keep yourself at least in the game in the first half, or try to build yourself a lead in that first half. Third quarter has been the kryptonite. So, you know, that's been something that's just reoccurring. Other than that Galena game, it's been pretty much the third quarter has been tearing apart this Girard team. So we'll see if that's the same here tonight. Labette County, like you said, they're a competitive team. They competed over there in the Burlington tournament as well, and you can expect the same result here tonight for them, or at least not the same result, but the same style of play, I should
we
say.
hope not the same result.
Yeah, not the same result.
But, I mean, just this team, it's going to be a difficult game, and Girard has definitely had their share of difficult games rather than playing in the Burlington tournament or after just some of those games following the tournament. And so it'll be interesting to see how they can really play coming off of that win against Galena.
Well, about 3 minutes out as we stare down the start of this boys game. It'll be interesting to see. We don't have starters yet, but it will be interesting to see who Coach Westcott decides to bring in as the starting five for Girard, as we've seen a good mix. And even whenever they played Labette County in the Burlington tournament, we saw a different starting five than what we saw right out of break. And then since then, it's been pretty much different every single night. So we'll see who Westcott brings in to start this game off, if he wants to bring in a sharpshooting squad with Stevens and Buckingham, or if he wants to try and size up, bring in those typical starters and Brokaw, Smith, Burke, and Cullen, just getting those in. I think the one recurring guy who's just pretty much a no-doubter has been, well, I should say, as well as Cullen, has been Stevens as well.
And I think no matter what, Perrin's able to play in that shooting lineup or play in that just starting lineup that we've really seen from the start of this year. But I think the big thing, if you look at the Trojans team, is just that there are so many players that it's an incredible thing that we can be asking ourselves who's going to start this game based off of what Coach Westcott will really need. And so, I mean, it's just depending on what we're going to match up against with this Labette County team maybe being a little bit larger in size with some good height, you would think that Westcott would go back to that normal roster, that normal starting five that we have had so often so far this season.
Well, they're headed to the bench now. We've got 4 of the starters identified here for Girard. The 5th is really that's been the one. We've got, and now I think we've got it. So Caleb, give them to me, the starters for tonight's contest against Labette County.
Looking at tonight, it looks like these starters for Girard will start with number 1, a 5'11 junior, Perrin Stevens. Number 2, the 5'8 freshman, Briggs Buckingham. Number 4, the 6'2 sophomore, Jackson Smith. Number 5, the 6'1 junior, Harrison Burke. And rounding out the starting 5 is number 35, a 5'11 junior, Blake Brokaw.
And that is, I mean, kind of a bit of a commentator's jinx in some capacity there for me, as Cullen is not going to be in this starting lineup. But I don't think, you know, Westcott's been working in a lot of different guys in this 5-man roster. And like you've said, I think it was earlier on this week, none of these guys really feel some sort of way about being in that roster or being the 6th man or 7th or 8th even. So I don't think it changes much about Cullen's play style or even really his minutes to that capacity. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not he's on the floor on the opening tip.
And I do think one of the most interesting things about this starting lineup is just the fact that it seems like we've had a different starting lineup for the past 3 or 4 games, and so just Westcott kind of moving players around, seeing what will work best against certain teams, and like you were saying, I believe those 3 guys coming off the bench that we'll see tonight is Ben Colin, Briar Schultz, and Adrian Newton. And so some of those, 3 of the tallest players on the team. So just, it does seem like Westcott went with maybe a shorter lineup to start this game, at least with the starting 5.
Starting lineup for Labette County is number 3. The junior 5'10" guard is Kane Nash. Number 4, the 5'8" senior point guard Keegan Bates. Number 5, the 6'1" junior guard Nolan Nash. Number 24, the 6'1" senior guard forward Barrett Heston. And number 33, the 6'4" 6'4" junior center Tucker Rush. Those starting lineups brought to you by the Jagged Edge. The Trojans will start this game in style, but nowhere near the level of style you'll find at the Jagged Edge. Stylist Carlos Sands will have you looking your best for your next big game. Make an appointment soon by calling 620-724-7500. And as we get set for the opening tip, it is brought to you by Farmers Bank. The opening tip brought to you by Farmers Bank. Farmers Bank is proud to have helped with the growth and development of the communities we serve. Farmers Bank with locations in Hepler, Walnut, St. Paul, and Girard. Looking forward to a brighter tomorrow. Starting off this game, Labette County with the ball. As they work it outside, Nash for the triple. Trying to open this game up quickly, and Buckingham gets the board back the other direction. Double bounce pass over to Harrison Burke, gets nearly stripped. Out of bounds on the Grizzlies. Cross court, Stevens. Brocobb wanted to pull up, now he will. Swirls out on the 3. Loose ball picked up by Stevens. Smith in for the and 1.
And I think one of the biggest things for the Trojans is just getting out early and getting the scoring going. And something that we've seen in the girls' games recently is just they've grown out a 10-point lead really to start the first quarter, and it's been successful. So why not the boys? Why can't they have that same recipe for success? And I think against one of those tougher teams in Labette County, that's going to be something that you'll need to do to give yourself a fighting chance in this game.
Yeah, they're going to say that was no good on the free throw make. Some kind of lane violation. I didn't see who they called it against. As they work it over. Here's Bates, or no, excuse me, that was Nolan Nash taking it into the paint. Grabbing the 2 there. Burke works it to Smith. Looking to get across midcourt over to Buckingham. Burke now working off the glass and in. Great answer as this Girard team started off with a lead, and now they're not looking to let it up. Nolan Nash taking it down the floor. Over to Bates. Bates to Nash. Back out to Heston for 3, and he gets it to fall, taking that lead to ownership of Labette County.
So far, just back and forth offense from both of these teams.
Smith loses it. It's over in the direction of Buckingham, who drives the base, and they'll say he stepped out of bounds. Now Labette County with a chance to tack on here in their first lead of the game. Ben Cullen's going to throw off his warm-ups and head to the scores table to check in promptly.
And so just like how you were saying that Ben may not be a starter necessarily, but he will get those big minutes in this game.
Big time 3 from Nolan Nash with a hand in his face. Showing the shooting capabilities of this Labette County team. Brocobb to Buckingham. So they swing it back around to Stevens, looking inside, and it's peeled out of bounds by the Grizzlies. Cullen is going to check in for Harrison Burke. Try to apply some pressure down low. Burke and Colin both sitting at that 6+ foot height. Colin at 6'2", Burke at 6'1". Brocob goes off of the rim on the miss. Foul called, and that will go against Brocob. An unfortunate pan of events. First team, first personal for Brocob. Shot goes up from Tucker Rush. Had Brocob on the contest. Now they'll work it over. Buckingham for the triple. Too strong on that try, and he'll hear it from the student section. Very rare miss to that caliber from Briggs Buckingham.
I mean, typically you expect it to either hit the rim or swish right on in, so I think Briggs will be looking to get that one back.
Cullen drives inside and drops a teardrop in the paint. Just over 3 minutes into this first quarter. As they work it with Colin Weil. Off the rim on the shot from Heston. Back the other direction for Girard. Cullen on the perimeter as they work it around to Smith on the far side. Brocob swings it over to Stevens. Stevens looking to carve his way inside. Almost gets the and one. Gets fouled on his way up and will be shooting free throws here. Oh, no, excuse me, on the floor. That's the second time tonight that I've guessed wrong.
I mean, both times that I would say that you've guessed, I wouldn't say you've guessed wrong. I'd say both of them could have gone 50-50. But Adrian Newton did check in for Briggs Buckingham.
Trying to add a little bit of height, but even Newton is capable of shooting that three ball, so we'll see how that pans as Smith gets the takeaway, intercepting it at about midcourt. Newton with the putback. A great addition to the court, already paying off in Coach Westcott's favor as they tie this one up at 8 apiece. We'll take a break with this timeout and be right back.
Farmers Bank is a proud supporter of Girard Schools. For generations, Farmers Bank has worked with local leaders, businesses, and residents to help shape the future of Southeast Kansas. Farmers Bank is proud to have helped with the growth and development of the communities we serve. As partners in business and friends in life, Farmers Bank is looking forward to a brighter tomorrow. Farmers Bank, with locations in Hepler, Walnut, St. Paul, and Girard. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Back on Girard Sports Live, 8-8 is the score. As Labette County has given up 4 straight, two consecutive buckets to Girard. Weil kicks out. This is Bates for 3, can't go. The rebound and putback is good from Heston.
And I mean, so far, this Labette team has been kind of leading and scoring, but the Girard Trojans have been right there with them, and that's something that we did not see in that Burlington tournament.
Yeah, certainly hanging on as Cullen gets it to himself. Another 3, this time from Heston. As he pulled up from range. Bates now looking to drive off the glass and into the hands of Briar Schultz, the new face on the floor for Girard. Schultz on the far side, gives it off to Smith. Now the motion offense as Stevens finds a back door and gets the 2.
Incredible find from Briar Schultz. I mean, so far in this game, the scoring has been fairly even from Girard, with looks like Ben Colin being the only one with 2 buckets, and so it's just everyone is able to score.
And a hand in the face. I believe this is going against Cullen, and that it is. So Cullen is given his first foul. As Keegan Bates takes the line here. First one, swish. And for the second, Bates winds up and delivers. 12-12 as Labette ties it back up. A dozen apiece. Newton tries to deliver down low, and it's taken away. Bates on the fast break. Scanning and will pull off for just a moment, and now he'll deliver. Heston knives his way underneath and gets the 2. Smith over to Schultz, and now Stevens finds himself alone on the perimeter. Back into Schultz from the block. Rebound and put back is fouled from Jackson Smith. He's now headed to the line as foul numbers starting to climb just a little bit. 5 total here in the first. This is the same officiating group as we saw in the girls' game, and what we saw in the girls' game was a lot of whistles.
And
so
that's something that hasn't been as present so far in this first quarter, but definitely something that can play a part later in this game.
Saw 2 players foul out in that girls' game, one from Labette and one from Girard, with like 3 or 4 others in immediate trouble. So something to keep your eye on as this game advances forward. It's been a lot of clean looks though so far, a lot from the outside for Labette County, as driving in and laying it off of the rim. No dice there from Camden Good. Burke over to Colin. Now inside, Schultz hands it back out, and Colin will direct the offense. .15 on the shot clock, still plenty of time here for the Trojans. Burke tries to work it underneath to Colin, and it's taken away.
I believe Labette County stepped on the line. Should be another possession for the Trojans.
Didn't quite see it. It was taken away, and then that ball marked right about even with the top of the key, so I'd say you're about right. And now Burke will get the, oh no, excuse me, must have been off the foot of Nash. And another loose ball as Schultz gathers it. Things getting a little bit messy here for the Trojans as Brokop goes to work at the block.
And that's one of the key aspects of Blake's game, of just overpowering whoever is guarding him and just getting inside with that physicality.
15 on the clock, no more shot clock as Nash dribbles around the perimeter, tries to cut inside, delivers off to Zane Gorton, or Garton, who takes a 3. No good, 2 seconds remaining. Buckingham's just got to chuck it, and he doesn't get it. So that will conclude the first quarter of action. 15-14 is the score. Girard with a lead here through the first 8. We'll head into the second after this.
Community National Bank and Trust has been serving the area for more than 30 years with a strong commitment to the highest quality leadership and banking services. Missing that human touch with your bank? Come talk to a real person at Community National Bank and Trust. We're your local bank that's small enough to know you, yet big enough to offer the best products. Community National Bank and Trust. Federally insured, locally awesome. Member FDIC.
From the phone call to the service call, Roto-Rooter is there with fast and reliable sewer and drain service. From repair and replacement to septic and grease trap pumping, Roto-Rooter is here for you. With video inspections, Roto-Rooter can identify the exact issue to get the repair done quickly and correctly. Complete sewer line repairs or replacements, Roto-Rooter has you covered. Serving Crawford, Bourbon, and Cherokee counties, Roto-Rooter, 620-231-5630.
Back on Girard Sports Live. 1 point separates these two. It's looking to be a very competitive game here tonight. On the boys' side, 15-14 the score through the first 8 minutes into the second. The ball tipped out of bounds. Last touched by Camden Good. Now Brocob on the inbound. We'll give it to Buckingham to set up the offense. Over to Stevens. As the high pressure from Labette County starts here in the second quarter. Work it to Brocob, back out Buckingham for the triple. Toilet bowls out. Rebound Good, or excuse me, Nash. Nash tries to work it over. Gets it back out to Lamb, off the glass and in for the double.
And so far in this game, there's been about 8 lead changes and just back and forth, really. I mean, something that we did not see in the Trojans from that Burlington tournament of just being able to keep up with these Grizzlies.
Smith takes a shot from the corner. That was a quick pull, and it goes way deep for the tall guy from Girard. Keeping it on the perimeter is Rush. Rush listed as a center, but has already taken a 3 today. Nash trying to carve up the right side, hands it off. Here's Good. And loose ball goes out of bounds. Last touched by the Trojans. 2 seconds on the shot clock. It'll be a quick inbound and pull up from Labette County. Gets in and peeled away by Cullen. Nice defense there on that inbound. Buckingham from the corner, off the rim again, and now we've got another foul, this time on the ground.
So far for Briggs, just unlucky shooting tonight. He's had 2 shots already toilet bowl just out of the rim. I mean, so far he's 0 for 3 from the 3, and so it's one of them's bound to hit, just knowing Briggs and his shooting percentage.
Just kind of as a whole, the 3-point perimeter has not been nice to the Trojans, and it continues to be that way as Brocob misses on his try. I mean, feel like if it's not working out, got to start trying to work that interior. That has been really their big scoring opportunities. I understand trying to want that broken, I guess, breakaway play, not broken, but breakaway play on the 3 ball. But man, you got to keep yourself in this game. Too many possessions coming up empty.
And I mean, looking at it, all of the scoring for the Trojans, except for 1 free throw from Jackson Smith, has been inside of the 3-point range.
Garton makes a 3 for Labette County, who has been lethal from the perimeter. Brocob kicks it down low. Smith spins around and gets the 2 to drop. Timeout called by Girard. And we will take this moment to acknowledge this break in the action, which is brought to you by the Southeast Kansas Player Health Alliance and Live Well Crawford County, reminding you to know your limits when gambling and know when the game is playing you. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-426-2537 for free assistance. Still a 2-point game. Girard keeping themselves in it for the time being, following the triple from Garton, which was kind of the big separator. A nice answer from Smith. And now 5:30 remaining in the second. I believe that may have been the first or maybe the second timeout called by Westcott.
I think you're right. I don't know if we have had a timeout from Labette County, but I think good timeouts from Westcott, just making sure to keep up with the Grizzlies. And the Trojans have been able to do that so far in this game.
Foul called against Parent Stevens, his second. And that one was certainly reminiscent of the girls' game, a little bit touchy on the call there. Heston keeps it on the perimeter with Bates. Bates, excuse me, and it's loose. Get mixed up with these single-digit jerseys. Stevens with it to Cullen. Cullen back out to Stevens. Hands it off, Brocobb, long two, Cash.
And I mean, just like how we were saying, is that it's continued to be that the only scoring except for a free throw has been inside of the three-point range. And so for Girard, unless your last name is Buckingham, I'm not sure if you should continue to try the three.
Nash drives in, lays one off the back of the rim and in for Labette County. They'll swing it around here with Buckingham. Back over to Stevens, and now they find Smith in the corner. 15 on the shot clock. Brocobb, Buckingham, Stevens. Looked like he wanted to pull up. Buckingham does and swishes it. Another lead change here as Girard takes it 22-21. Up top with Heston. Bates to Nash. Nash to Nash as here comes Kane into the paint. Hard off the glass. Won't go, but Weil gets the second effort to fall. Stevens over to Cullen. Back across, Buckingham pulls up from the same spot. Can't get it to go this time. Cullen trying to post up on the block, and Smith gets the driving effort. No good. Stevens on the putback. That won't fall either, but there is a foul. First one from Smith is hard off the iron. So now looking to tie it up with this second free throw. Buckingham, Brocobb, and Cullen all check out. Schultz, Burke, and Newton come in place. Bates kicks out. Weil. Back around to Nash for the three. Back iron, no good. Smith now taking it down the floor for Girard. Will hand it off to Stevens. And now they'll set it up from the perimeter. Stevens Kicks it inside. Burke from the foul stripe. No dice. Rebound into the hands of Nolan Nash. Work it out to Weil. Back around. Bates now looking to drive. Ball is tipped. Nash gets the bucket. Burke swings it around. Newton for the three. Tie ball game again as Adrian Newton gets his to fall. Both him and Buckingham, that dynamic duo that we spoke about earlier this half of the season, both with a three, but at separate times on the floor.
And I think, honestly, we don't talk about Adrian's three-point shooting enough, of how he's able to get inside with his size and just get those rebounds, but it seems like Adrian can also always make a three no matter where he's at on the court.
11 seconds as Schultz receives the pass on the far side wing. Work it into Newton. Back to Schultz. His shot too high. We'll work it with Bates trying to drive and in on the and one.
Looks like another triple substitution, and Schultz, Smith. Oh, there's four guys sitting. Newton, it looks like Buckingham, Brocob, and Colin will all check in.
Ball fought for on the rebound. No good on the extra point try from Bates. Schultz works it back up top. Buckingham, his pass over the top to Cullen on the post, trying to work against the physicality, and he gets fouled. Now Cullen with a chance to shoot from the foul stripe as a new face, or a new body, will enter the floor for Labette County. Carson Lamb, who was in the game earlier, but fresh set of feet. Cullen's first does not go. Missed on the second as well. We got a whistle blown. And that will go against Briar Schultz, who collects his first foul of the game. Bates. Almost calling for what looked to be an ISO there for a minute. Lamb now hands it off to Weil. 10 on the clock as it's over and off the rim from Heston. Buckingham gets past everybody, lays it off the glass and in to tie it up at half. Big time bucket from Briggs Buckingham. Puts the score at 27 apiece as we will head into halftime. Third quarter coming up after some halftime stats and analysis. We'll be right back after this.
Since 1918, GN Bank has been the heart of our community. Big enough to meet all your banking needs, but small enough to offer that personal touch you deserve. From agricultural loans to home mortgages, GN Bank has the expertise, products, and service to help you thrive. With a pledge to treat others ethically, be adaptable, focus on customers, and invest in the communities they serve, GN Bank is committed to your success. The best place to bank and borrow, GN Bank, where community banking truly comes first. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
You've heard go big or go home. At Big Iron Auctions, you can go big from home. With thousands of pieces of equipment, active auctions, bidding at your convenience, and an easy-to-use site, BigIronAuctions.com can help you grow big. Call Tyler Jackman at 620-404-8115 to see how Big Iron Auctions can help grow your operation. Bid now, list now at BigIronAuctions.com.
Welcome to Homestead of Girard, assisted and independent living right here in our hometown. At Homestead, seniors enjoy compassionate care in a community designed for comfort. Licensed professionals provide support with daily activities, dressing, bathing, and medication management. Residents enjoy home-cooked meals and the comfort of their own private apartment. Call 620-724-6760 to schedule your tour today. Homestead of Girard, senior living with compassion, comfort, and community.
At Fort Scott Community College, we understand that a scary part of figuring out your future isn't only answering the question, what should I do, but where do I belong? Maybe you belong here, preparing for a career in healthcare as part of Fort Scott Community College's nursing program. Or maybe you belong on stage as part of the Hounds band or theater department. I don't know where you've been or where you're headed, but I know we're saving a spot for you because you belong at Fort Scott Community College.
Hi, do you offer insurance bundling?
Enter authentication code to start transaction.
Where would I get the code?
Please enter code.
Okay. Sometimes humans are just more helpful.
Wrong.
Let's talk about bundling and see if there are other ways for you to save with a super check.
That sounds great.
Here, take a look.
Farm Bureau Financial Services. It's your future. Let's protect it.
Call Judd, Lori, Ginny, or Amber in Girard today.
Back on the halftime show here for Girard Sports Live. This halftime show is brought to you by GN Bank, where they've been providing customers with the highest quality financial services in a friendly and personal way for over 100 years. Personal, business, or agricultural needs, turn to GN Bank. Learn more at gn-bank.com. And as we look back at the first half, Kennar Eye Care is here to make sure you can see what you're looking at. Kennar Eye Care, with locations in Pittsburgh and Girard, is here to help their valued customers. Learn more at KennarEyeCare.com. As we look at this first half, it's been a very interesting one, back and forth. No team really able to pull ahead by more than what looks like 4 or 5 points. I think actually 4 is the largest lead that we've seen. We've seen it from both of these squads so far.
And I think just going into that, I've been tallying how many just lead changes we've had in this game, and so far we've had a total of 7 lead changes just in the first half. And so, I mean, for the Trojans, it has been a lot better of a game this second time around against this Labette County team, just being able to be tied at halftime whenever I don't remember exactly how much the Grizzlies were leading by in that Burlington tournament whenever we were playing them, but
More than 10.
It was not pretty. It was not a game we would like to remember, really, and so just looking back on it, I think for the Trojans, if you can continue playing how you play, it's probably going to work out in the end. And the only thing I would see is if there's a chance for one of your guys to kind of take that next step and jump into that leading scorer position, because right now, looking at it, you have Adrian Newton, Briggs Buckingham, Jackson Smith, all with, it looks like 5 points apiece, and then following them, both Blake Brokop and Ben Cullen have 4, and Harrison Burke has 2. So just even scoring from everyone so far on the court, with the only player entering the court without any points is Briar Schultz, and even without the scoring from Briar, he's still helped with assists and rebounds whenever he has entered the game. And so just an even team performance from the Trojans so far, and the biggest thing we'll see who can jump out and kind of take that leading scorer position, because we know that anyone on this team really can do that at any game, at any point of the season.
Yeah, it's always great to have a good spread, statistically on the offensive side. But what I'll tell you about having a good spread of points is that you never see, those teams that really are able to work the ball around pull away by a lot. It's always, just kind of keeping yourself in a good rhythm, which I think Girard has done a great job of so far. I mean, they're obviously going to be capable of winning this game. It's tied up at halftime. They know what Labette County's bringing to the table. They knew going into this game, and that it certainly has showed that they've improved since that Burlington tournament. They've learned what they were doing wrong, and they suffered a couple of sicknesses at that time as well. It was a really cold week, I should say, for that tournament. So a lot of factors played in that aren't really playing in here tonight. So it's been kind of what you would expect out of that traditional Girard Trojans boys team. And I'm excited to see this second half, because especially in this third quarter, we saw against Galena, Girard really dominated Galena in the third quarter, and that was their takeoff time. But historically, this third quarter has been kind of the bully, and we haven't really seen that gray area where Girard's been able to just kind of keep pace with their opponent in the third and not either pull away or really fall behind and then have to work back in the fourth. So we'll see how this pans out. I'm excited to see, especially this quarter, because I think this is going to be almost a dictator for the rest of this game.
And I mean, going into what you've been saying, that third quarter against Galena was some of the best basketball that I think this Trojan team has played, especially in the third quarter. And so it'll be interesting to see what Coach Westcott's halftime speech is going to be like. Just thinking about it, you'd say that he's saying something to his guys, just saying, look at where you were at against this team less than 2 games ago, and look at where you're at tonight, being able to be tied at halftime and staying with this team that really was more dominant in that Burlington tournament. And so I think the biggest thing is just continuing what you're doing and seeing if you can jump out in that third quarter just like how they did in that. Since this matchup against these Grizzlies in that Burlington tournament, which ended in a 53-64 loss for the Trojans have gone 1-1 with that loss to Colgan and that win against Galena. So not a lot of games since that last matchup, but definitely 2 very different games for the Trojans. And so it'll be interesting to see how this game will be that third game that kind of dictate how the season will go moving forward, if you're going to continue those losing streaks of games, or if this is kind of turning a corner for the Trojans team to win these last games before sub-state and state.
Yeah, and to your point of what Coach Westcott is saying in the locker room, or what he did say as we see them take the floor once again, I don't know if he talks differently to his players than he talks about them. I'm sure it is a little bit different, coaching to analysis, but I'm sure right now what he's thinking is, I'm happy with the effort. The effort's certainly there. We keep that up. There's no reason we should fall short of this Labette team, or if we do, it's going to be by a very, very small margin. The effort is certainly there. We're seeing all these players be able to work against their men on defense and on offense very, very effectively at their own periods of time. Just a couple slumps here and there that have given Labette County some room to work back into this game, or to whether that's work back into this game or take off with a little bit of a lead. That's up to 4 points. whatever it is, you eliminate those slumps, and all of a sudden, Girard has a lead. So Labette County, not an easy team to take down. We saw their sharp shooting capabilities in the first quarter. That really slimmed down in the second. I actually don't think they made a three in the second quarter. So that's been something that I'm sure Westcott really hammered down on in that break, telling them we need to guard the perimeter. And since then, Labette County hasn't had a substantial lead.
And I mean, the big thing for the Trojans going into the second half is you almost want to limit the amount of threes that the Trojans are taking with just the amount of misses and the amount of good opportunities they've had inside to kind of change the dynamic of this game. And if you can continue to get those good shots inside, I think your scoring will come a lot more consistently than trying to force the three around the perimeter.
Great effort on both sides of the floor. Girard gets the takeaway. Buckingham gets it pickpocketed, but then Smith lays out to knock that ball out of bounds and slow the progression of the transition from Labette County. Up at the top is Bates, over to Nash, and now inside. Here's Heston fading for the two. Off the back iron, won't go, and Stevens collects the rebound. Down the floor, Brocob. They swing it around to Smith, and now Brocob was trying to drive. Smith now gets it to Buckingham down low. We got a potential jump ball situation, and that's what it'll be.
It does look like it'll stay here with the Trojans, so another opportunity to take this lead early in the third.
High energy play between these two squads. Brocob gets the inbound, and now Stevens. Inside, Smith tries to work his way to the block, fades away, and it just barely drops out. And we've got another foul. Or no,
I believe
out of
that's,
bounds.
Yeah, just another opportunity for the Trojans. And so if you have three opportunities in a row, this is the one that you want to cash out on.
Third time's the charm is what they say. This pass makes its way to Buckingham. Buckingham takes a floater. It will not go, and it's off the hands of Smith into the hands of Rush. Buckingham gets the steal. They'll say he stepped out of bounds. It slows that offense once again for Labette County. I love this pressure that they're delivering from the half court or that quarter court margin.
And I think both teams so far are playing great defense, and that's the big start to this third quarter.
Great defense, but I'll tell you what, it looks like there's a lid on both of these baskets, as both Girard and Labette County have had some very close calls on some two-pointers so far. Trojans at their own baseline. Get it into Stevens, and now around to Smith. Looking to the interior, but delivers to Buckingham on the outside still. Stevens around the perimeter. Brocob, 12 on the shot clock. Brocob pulls up, long two, can't go, and it's rebound collected by Heston.
And one of the things that I would like to see from Blake Brocob is just getting inside the paint and getting those tough buckets that he's gotten before, especially whenever the scoring kind of starts to slim down. Just those kind of easy buckets for Brocob just inside the paint.
Got a whistle blown here. Rush credited with his first foul of the game. Girard continuing to work the outside. They've had slim luck from the interior in this half, but there's Buckingham making it work with quick feet. Keeping him right in there at the tie. And now we've got a foul underneath as Bates was headed for the rim. See who this one goes to.
I believe they would call that on Brocob. It looks like that is what will happen, but I think that's a smart foul from Blake. I mean, just making him earn it from the line.
Bates one guy who you can pretty much count on from Labette County. They've got a couple of them, Bates, and both the Nash boys are real good from just about anywhere on the floor, but that's not to discount what Girard's capable of doing as well, as they hold their own, shooting from all over the place. Stevens finds Buckingham on the back door, but a loose ball out of bounds. Labette County takes it down the floor. Nash, it's Nolan Nash over to Weil. Weil's pass inside, pickpocketed by Perrin Stevens. Out to Cullen and now around as Buckingham finds himself far side. Stevens to Smith. Back to Stevens. Inside, Cullen trying to work the post, kick out from the corner. It dances, won't go. Cullen gets the board, gets fouled, and he's headed to the line. This time on a much more favorable side, as the student section won't be right there in his ear.
Hopefully they won't be talking about his hairline on this side of the court, but still some noise to come.
First one's in. Talk about the sixth man. It certainly plays a factor. That, I mean, gets hard to focus. Second one, Cash. And Girard just really hanging on, grabbing Labette County by the wrist as they are still kind of in command of this game.
The big thing you would like to see is just Girard being able to maybe take a lead and make Labette County follow them for the rest of this quarter.
Nash with quick feet drives the paint. Now Smith to Schultz, around to Stevens and Burke. Burke tries to get it to Cullen, and Cullen will actually draw a foul, I believe. Goes against White 33. Tucker Rush, his second.
That'll be Labette's third.
Adrian Newton checks in, this time for Jackson Smith, as Ben Cullen will get the inbound here. To Burke, Stevens, and now over to Newton. Work it back over to Burke. Across and around, Newton for the three, just shy, and now Burke tries to go back up with it. Can't get it on that try. It bounces out of bounds, and it's headed the other direction. Newton has found himself in that three-point position a couple of times. I think it's the illusion that he's just a center, you know, with that height.
And I mean, Adrian's been able to make this Grizzlies team pay, I think, 1 out of his 3 attempts, so not terrible shooting, but I definitely think if they keep giving him attempts like that, it will be successful for Adrian Newton.
Harrison Burke inbounds it after Nolan Nash stepped out on the baseline. We've seen that happen quite a few times. I think it's because of that black line separated from the red. I'd say that has something to do with it.
I would think so, almost thinking that that red is more out of bounds than anything.
Black line can kind of escape your vision when you've got that bright red. Usually kind of sending off warnings in your head. It's just a bit of a difference. Maybe an adjustment here for Girard. Inbound to Burke over the top, and he drops in a 2. ties it back up, and this trend continuing here for Girard as Labette County saves it. It was Garton on the save, and now Girard with a chance. Buckingham is stripped. Back the other way with Nolan Nash, who pulls up mid-range, 2. Rebound Newton.
If you're the Trojans, you would almost want to slow it down and get a good offensive possession to try to take this lead.
Had a nice advantage on that last push, though, a 2-on-1. Buckingham just couldn't quite get the grip on the ball. Brocobb, Buckingham. Pump fakes the 3 and now back around. Smith back to Buckingham. This time he takes it. No good. Rebound is Nolan Nash. Works it over to Kane Nash. Now down the floor. Heston pulls up. Jumper. No good. Brocobb on the board. Another opportunity for Girard to take their first lead since the second quarter. Smith fires from the corner. And no dice on that try either. Grizzlies gather the board, and now it'll be Bates working it underneath to Heston, who puts up a 2 and in. Just unfortunate that Girard was unable to capitalize on so many opportunities there from inside the paint, outside the perimeter, just nothing.
And I mean, from the looks of it, it looks like the Trojans will just continue to play catch up, and that's what the theme of this game has been really since the second quarter.
As we take this break in the action, this timeout is brought to you by Salon 214. Now open at 107 North Ozark in Girard. Take a timeout to pamper yourself with Vanessa and her team at Salon 214, excuse me. And take a timeout to check out Salon 214 on Facebook. As they honor some of Labette County's cheerleaders. Coach Westcott talking to these guys on the bench, trying to draw something up offensively, as right now you're 0 for 4 on the last 4 possessions. Just can't get anything to fall through the bucket, but it seems like this trend of Girard just kind of keeping pace with Labette County, it's enough right now, but you gotta get ahead at some point.
And I mean, just like you said, it's just enough. And so the big thing is just something's got to change to where you're not trailing. And the only way that you can win with the pace you're playing is that if you somehow hit a 3 last minute to get that 1-point advantage, instead of just tying over and over again with these Grizzlies.
Stevens to Cullen, as Cullen works his way into the paint. A beautiful spin move and in.
Incredible post work by Ben Cullen.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal down low, facing off against some very physical players as well. And that one is blocked, but a foul called. I feel like I know why the foul was called there, as Camden Good was laying out for that reverse, but I don't think there's any contact.
I didn't see any. I thought it was all ball, and I thought it was just Ben playing great defense, but we don't get to make those calls.
It does get to kind of a point where player hits the ground, you start to question as an official, you know, was there some physicality or excessive contact? Good for his second. Off the rim and out. So another open opportunity for Girard to potentially take the lead here. New face on the floor is Jet Steig. And a travel called against Buckingham. Costly violation there on offense. leads to another turnover, and Labette County with a chance to make this a 3-point game. Steig over and around, but a takeaway. Stevens, no more shot clock, and Buckingham gets fouled.
There it is. It's been a couple times tonight that I think Briggs should have deserved to get fouled. And I believe that one is definitely one of those times. But with this, Briggs can finally take the lead here with about 26 seconds left in the third quarter.
Got a change here. They're discussing and saying that it was on the floor.
I don't know how that.
Oh, yeah. Even Westcott was grinning, so I don't know if maybe he's not too convinced either. Got to get it in here as Smith delivers to Brocobb. But now another takeaway. This time it was Weatherall. Steig trying to get it out. Gets it to Lamb, who tries for the triple, and it's over the backboard out of bounds. 9 seconds to go.
So the Trojans have 9 seconds. You have the last possession, hopefully, in this third quarter. Can they take the lead for the first time since the second?
Smith trying to draw something up offensively. Takes the shot off the glass, and it just doesn't fall. So close on so many tries for Girard, but still a deficit as we head into the fourth. It starts to get a little scary here. We'll take a break, and we'll be right back.
Farmers Bank is a proud supporter of Girard Schools. For generations, Farmers Bank has worked with local leaders, businesses, and residents to help shape the future of Southeast Kansas. Farmers Bank is proud to have helped with the growth and development of the communities we serve. As partners in business and friends in life, Farmers Bank is looking forward to a brighter tomorrow. Farmers Bank, with locations in Hepler, Walnut, St. Paul, and Girard. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Chicken Annie's Girard. When you're facing a chicken emergency, there's only one hero. Catering and carry out from Chicken Annie's Girard. When an onion ring craving is too much to bear, when the family's coming over and you weren't aware, it's Chicken Annie's Girard to the rescue. When there's 20, 30, 100 to feed, you need Chicken Annie's Girard indeed. A heroic value, superb flavor. When there's a chicken emergency, there's only one hero. Chicken Annie's Girard.
Back on. Final 8 minutes of the ball game. Weil starts with it for the Grizzlies, who lead by 1 here in the fourth quarter. Taking it around is Weatherall. Now Weatherall with it in the corner as he works with Weil. Good. Looking to drive, hands it off, and in for Lamb. Tacks it up to a 3-point lead. As Girard has been looking for that lead for quite some time. And now Stevens gets fouled. Have not had a lead since the first half.
No, and with that foul, I don't think any player should necessarily be in too much of foul trouble for either team.
Been a pretty clean game so far for the most part. Couple here and there on the shots, but other than that, not any bonus. No players getting too excessive, having to miss time. Stevens goes 1 for 2, leaves it at a 2-point lead. Now Weil over to Lamb. Back to Weil, who tries to speed his way down the right side. Rush goes up and off the glass, in for another 2, up to 40 for Labette County. This one's poked out by Good. And now a timeout called by Coach Westcott. We'll take this moment to take a break. We'll be right back after this short word from our sponsors.
At Fort Scott Community College, we understand that a scary part of figuring out your future isn't only answering the question, what should I do, but where do I belong? Maybe you belong here, preparing for a career in healthcare as part of Fort Scott Community College's nursing program. Or maybe you belong on stage as part of the Hounds band or theater department. I don't know where you've been or where you're headed, but I know we're saving a spot for you because you belong at Fort Scott Community College.
.652 remains here in the fourth. A 4-point lead is what's been manufactured from the Grizzlies as Buckingham takes it across midcourt. Smith over to Briggs. And now Jackson Smith pulls up for the triple. Back to a 1-point game. Jackson Smith finding his stride from range. Here's a 3-ball and a great answer off the hands of Carson Lamb. Cullen gets it to Briggs Buckingham for 3. Back-to-back triples from Buckingham and Smith. And now it remains a 1-point lead, just nullifying that answer from Carson Lamb.
And I mean, the Trojans are doing a great job of responding, and 6 quick points in less than about 20 seconds is one of the biggest things for the Trojans. And if they can continue to play this fast-paced offense, I don't see any reason why the cracks in Labette County's defense will start to show through, and the Trojans will be able to take this lead here in the fourth quarter.
(42-43). Weil takes it down the floor. Labette County kind of saving. Oh my goodness.
Off-ball foul?
No, they called that against Weil.
Really?
I thought that. I mean, I thought they were calling it against Stevens, and then they called it against Weil. I'm a little bit baffled at that. I'm not gonna lie. It didn't even look like they collided.
I mean, I'm not going to complain, but
no, but it's just. Anyway, back to basketball. Stevens.
It's like a foul called on Ben Colin, maybe?
No, they called a lane violation against him, telling him he has to get both of his feet out. As he said he stepped out on the other side, and they said no, he didn't. Here's a 3-ball and in for Bates. Just some big-time perimeter shooters right now from both sides of the floor. Stevens to Buckingham, pulls up, 3, can't go. Cullen with the putback, almost gets the and 1, but he is fouled in the process. He'll be shooting 2. These are a big 2 free throws coming up for Ben Cullen.
And Ben Cullen isn't the most efficient free throw shooter, but he can definitely make them.
Went 2 for 2 on his last visit. Went 0 for 2 on his first. So now overall 3 for 5. As the second follows in suit. Clutching up for the cause. 2-point game. Now defense has got to step up as Nolan Nash drives in and gets fouled.
That is just the first foul on the Trojans in the fourth compared to Labette County's 3.
Foul goes against Ben Cullen. First one from Nash. Dances and outs. It's a big miss. These are big, I mean, every free throw really just
seems like every bucket up until now is going to be big.
The weight of the world right now on each and every shot that all 10 of these players are putting up throughout the rest of this game.
Still just a one-possession game.
Got to get it across midcourt. Smith gets it to Stevens. Transition over to Brokob in the corner. He winds up and delivers. Tie ball game once again as Girard has found their step from the perimeter. Bates drives, delivers, and blocked by Stevens. The shot from Tucker Rush, but now another takeaway. And Bates,
I think he thought that Rush was a lot closer.
Either that or he mistaken a bench player for somebody in the game.
He passed it to the bench, yeah.
Stevens gets it into Cullen, but it's stripped away. Bates loses it and runs into Westcott in the process. Newton and Burke holding him upright.
That's Bates' second almost turnover.
Brokob pulls up, long two, gets it! Blake Brokob breaks the tie and gets the Trojans their first lead since halfway through the second. Bates, spin move underneath, in the paint, and delivers another tying bucket. And now Labette County playing the tag-along game. We'll see if Girard can hold on to the front runner. Smith driving inside and travel called. So now taking it down the floor, Nolan Nash, joined by Bates up top. Bates kicks out to his partner, Kane Nash. This shot blocked by Cullen. A big-time swat from the tall man. Stevens, mid-range two, won't go. Rebound is into his own hands. He kicks out. Smith, Brokob, Buckingham. Oh man, unfortunate. Buckingham had a wide open look.
That would have been big.
From the perimeter, a foul called, maybe a good one, or actually, yes, a good one from Labette. I don't think he knew it in the moment, but he's probably grateful it happened. That goes against Nolan Nash. And now Kagan Bates on the fast break, lays it off the glass and in. Back up to a 2-point lead for Labette County. What a switch of events. Buckingham tries to take the lead, and it's off the rim into the hands of Nolan Nash. Working against Ben Cullen, and now trying to get inside the paint. As that one's poked out of bounds on Brokob.
Now, something for the Trojans that will be in their favor for these last couple of minutes is the fact that the Grizzlies are in the bonus. So any foul will send the Trojans to the line.
Nash will step back to the logo and take a second to reevaluate. And now a deep range three as Smith makes a great save to Brokob. Cohen takes it down the floor. Over to Stevens. Buckingham trying to find a spot to Smith. Brokob now. 16 on the shot clock. Now 10. Inside, Brokob pulls up for the mid-range two. Off the glass and in. These guys are just finding a way, both teams, to just hang on in this game. Great answers by both the Grizzlies and the Trojans. As Bates gets it into Rush, his shot won't go. And Stevens strips it away. His pass blocked, but right back into his arms. Buckingham now down the floor. Into the corner. Brokob now on the close side wing. This will take us into the final 60 seconds. A big-time possession here for Girard. Brokob to Stevens. Inside to Smith. Smith gets it to go. Jackson Smith, 2-point lead. And a block foul called against Perrin Stevens. Won't be too costly though. 41 seconds to go. You've still got plenty of room before you send the Grizzlies into bonus.
And that's the thing, is that the Grizzlies need to be careful when fouling. Before the Trojans, you have 2 fouls you can give up. So this is a big possession, probably the biggest possession of the game for the Grizzlies.
And I can only imagine that the Grizzlies, if given the chance from the perimeter, they are going to take that shot. And both teams have been very lethal. Here it is. Kane Nash off the rim. Won't go. It's rebounded by Keegan Bates. 17 seconds. No more shot clock here as they swing it around. Nash for three. Gets it. 11 seconds to go. A big-time bucket. And I knew that's what they wanted.
And I mean, with how good of a three-point shooting team they are, why not go for it? But the Trojans now with 11 seconds.
Not all hope is lost. You've got plenty of time to draw something up, to get the ball inside. A bucket is all that matters. A foul even. You get to the line, all you got to do is make one. The task becomes so much easier as you get down the floor. But for the Trojans, you've got to get one in. Not all hope is lost. 11 seconds is plenty of time, but with a sharp shooting team like Labette, who have been absolutely lethal from outside the perimeter, that's just what the doctor ordered.
And I think if you're the Trojans, you're going to want to get it inside. And personally, the two people I would want taking that last shot inside is going to be Blake Brokob or Jackson Smith. They have been the most efficient inside scorers so far tonight and throughout the season. And so if you can get either of them, and honestly, if any one of these players can just get a foul, that'll give this team a chance.
I feel like a name that should be mentioned is Ben Cullen. I know maybe you have a bit of a personal connection with him, but I got to say, he's been working real hard underneath. You got a couple of options here if you're Girard. I don't think you can go wrong. I think maybe you probably count Buckingham out for the interior shot, but to get the ball down the floor, he's probably a good subject. Cullen gets it. They got to move quickly here. Buckingham across midcourt. And we've got a timeout called as Coach Westcott wants to draw something up here. 4 seconds left. Take a little bit of a gasp of air here as you're going to be holding your breath.
4 seconds, and these Grizzlies are going to be playing a tight defense. Yeah. So you're going to have to get the ball in quick and get it down low quick if that's where you're going for. If not, a quick three just any shot off, and that's going to be the big thing, that you can't not take a shot. You have to keep the ball for the Trojans. You can't give up an easy turnover to the Grizzlies to seal the game.
I'm sure Coach Westcott's got something in his back pocket. He knows what he wants to do right here. This situation is not uncommon for a lot of coaches at this level and a lot of elite coaches like Westcott is. He's got something drawn up. I can see him delivering it to his guys right now. This is the do or die moment. This is when you pull out all the stops. You get exactly what you want. The last play of the game, got to go for it all.
And this can be what determines how the rest of your week and how the rest of the remaining games of the regular season could go for the Trojans.
Cullen will be on the inbound, so you're probably looking for guys like Smith and Brocobb. Got a timeout called by Labette County as they wanted to see the formation that Girard came out in, and I'm sure they've been doing their research. Girard has probably run this play before in the past. Labette County knows what they want to do now. And I can't help but be a little bit shaky here.
I am physically shaking, Drake. It is always incredible whenever you can witness one of these close games that come down to the last shot.
A nerve-wracking ending here in Labette. Grizzlies have been just pulling the Trojans along all game. But here we go. For it all. Cullen on the inbound as they get the motion. And Brocobb, the pass is delivered. Foul as Brocobb hacked at Kane Nash, who intercepted the pass, and now you've got to do the same right back to him.
For the Trojans, you got to foul now.
Foul once more delivered. 1.7 seconds left. Inbound on the far side. Hope starting to dwindle here as the Trojans are going to have to pull up from pretty much way down court.
Quick shot.
And now Bates escapes pressure, tosses the ball up, and that will be it.
Heartbreaking loss, Drake.
Yeah, definitely a heartbreaker, but you expected this one to come down to the wire. You knew it was going to be a hard-fought game. The effort was there, and man, this game never had a separation over 4 points.
And I mean, for the Trojans, if you're able to compete with a team like Labette County at this level, that's an impressive thing, but it just definitely hurts to lose in this fashion of 1 point, one last play that team wasn't even able to get a shot off, so it's just difficult loss.
Yeah, just a very unfortunate thing. When it comes down to what feels like those last play moments, it's very easy to kind of be like, we messed up there and that's what lost us the game. But I think back to that stretch of possessions. There were about 4 possessions there where Girard got some nice takeaways on Labette's side of the floor, got down to their side and just couldn't get the ball through the hoop. And that's the moment where I think about when I'm like, they had their chances to take that lead and just weren't able to really grab onto it and try to take off. I mean, that could have been a 6-point swing there if you make all your buckets.
Yep, just tough loss.
Well, we will go ahead and roll right into the post-game show presented by Eastside Cafe. Experience the best breakfast in town. 6 days a week at 120 South Ozark Street in Girard. Eastside Cafe, a proud supporter of Trojan Athletics. player of the game is going to be brought to you by tonight's Girard Booster Club game day sponsor, which is Producers Co-op Association. For more than 75 years, PCA has proudly served Southeast Kansas and Southwest Missouri as a full-service, member-owned agricultural cooperative. Right here in Girard, PCA is proud to support local families, schools, and community events, investing in the neighbors they serve every day. Visit PCA at any one of our locations, including Girard, Fort Scott, Liberal, and Moundville. Caleb, you got any ideas for player of the game? I see your stat sheet there. There's a couple of outliers.
I mean, looking for player of the game, scoring-wise, it was very even just across the board, kind of like how we had said early in that first, with Briggs ended with 10 along with Ben and Jackson also ending with 10. The leading scorer tonight was Blake with 11, but I'm not sure. I'm interested to see who you would say that player of the game is. I mean, I get made fun of by my mom because she says every single broadcast I want to give it to everyone, but it's tough.
And I'll tell you, I think just for the 1 point difference, I got to give it to Bro Cobb tonight. Oh, excuse me. Right towards the end of the broadcast, I was doing so well. But Bro Cobb, has that one extra point on Cullen, and that was from that 3 ball. But he dominated the paint just as well. I think both him, or all 3 of those guys, Bro Cobb, Smith, and Cullen, were all able to really work the paint so well against such a physical team with Heston and Rush working against him. Rush standing at 6'4", was easily the tallest guy on the floor other than, Adrian Newton is 6'3", and he's still an inch shorter. And we saw Newton get very limited play. I don't even think he came in there at the fourth quarter. It was just pretty much all starters, which just kind of goes to show what this team was really working against, the exhaustion, the physicality, just everything down in the paint, and then finally finding their stride on the perimeter as well. Just such a hard-fought game, but unfortunate that they came up short. For the player of the game, though, I feel like I got to give it to Bro Cobb.
And I agree with you. I just would like to give one last shout-out to Ben Colin.
Yeah.
He had incredible defense all game, and coming off the bench, you would think that for most players that would affect them, but for Ben, I honestly think that he had maybe one of his better games of the year. So
100%.
Shout out to Ben.
Maybe a bit of a motivator for him, and he certainly played minutes like he was a starter. I think Westcott tried something different tonight. It didn't necessarily hurt him to keep Ben out for those initial 2 minutes, and then worked him right in, and all of a sudden things were starting to fall into place, and he realized that Ben was going to be a very big necessity in that game. And I think we all kind of realized that as soon as Ben came in as well. But we'll go ahead and talk about the shot of the game here. It's presented by Bradshaw Collision Repair. Bob Bradshaw offers refinishing, paintless dent repair, glass replacement, and more. Let Bradshaw Collision Repair get you back in the game. Call 620-724-7300. And what do you got for us, Caleb?
I would say my shot of the game also could just be recency bias, but either one of that last 3 that Blake had made that really kind of gave the Trojans that last chance, and then just really any of those threes that Briggs was making, the back-to-back threes that the Trojans had to keep up with the Grizzlies there in the third, start of the fourth quarter. I'm not quite sure when that happened, but
yeah,
definitely one of those instances.
Yeah, 3 of those 3-pointers really stand out to me. That was the Bro Cobb 3, followed by the Jackson Smith 3, and then that was immediately followed by the Briggs Buckingham 3. I think I'm going to give it to all 3 of them because they were right there in that moment where the Trojans were starting to let go a little bit. Labette County was able to build that lead up to 4 for the first time since I think the first quarter. It was pretty much just a back-and-forth 2-point lead the entire time. And then they got up to 4. A couple threes later, it's a tie ball game again. It feels like you're breathing down the neck of a victory, and that just really opened the game up. And that's, the fact that it came down to 1 play means that you did a lot of things right, but that you had a little bit of opportunity there at the end to maybe get that last bucket. But we're going to go ahead and talk about the sponsor of the post-game coaches interview, which is Community National Bank and Trust, serving the area for 30 years. Stop in soon to pick up your very own Girard Trojan instant issue mascot debit card. Community National Bank and Trust is a proud supporter of Girard schools. Learn more online at mybankcnb.com. Got a bit of a level difference between me and Coach Westcott. Coach, thanks again for joining us here on the post-game show. Very physical game tonight and a very hard-fought game tonight, coming down to that last possession. Is there anything that really stood out to you that was a positive or even a negative tonight for your team?
Well, a lot of positives. Our kids played their butts off again. Unfortunately, we weren't rewarded with the dub, but again, I'm proud of our kids. That doesn't make them feel any better right now. Good hard-fought game. Just a good game all around, but gosh, we look back at a free throw here and there. I should have got a timeout when our play we set up. They switched some things, and I should have got a timeout there at the end and done something a little different. I let that one go, so that's my bad. We're in a learning curve right now. We're still learning how to get over the hump, and we've been so close.
Yeah.
And tonight was just another one of those nights. We're very, very close. This is like sub-state basketball tonight because it comes down to every single play can make the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're learning that as we grow right now. Hopefully we can get over the hump here before too long and get it figured out and come out on the right side of things. But proud of our kids. They battled hard. Probably the best complete game we've played right now. I thought we defended fairly well. Their quickness gives us fits. They're able to get to the rim on us several times, and they shoot it well too. So they're a hard guard. But proud of our kids tonight. We just got to keep battling and get back after it again tomorrow night. We don't have any time to feel sorry for ourselves.
Yeah, you guys made a lot of great adjustments on offense, working that perimeter at times whenever the boards were crashed, and then whenever they played out on the perimeter, you were able to get into the paint and just really match the tempo of the Grizzlies. Is that something that you guys were talking about in your huddles, or is that just something that these players are putting on the fly?
We have not shot the three well all year. We've got a couple guys shooting it well, but as a team, we haven't shot it well. And if we're relying on that early in the shot clock, it hasn't been good for us. So I think our guys are starting to understand that if we've worked the ball a little bit and we got our feet set, that's a good opportunity for us. But we're much better when we can get the ball going to the rim. And teams know that. They're trying to take that away. That's why we're getting some looks outside. But, we've got to keep doing what we do well and continue to try to get better at what we're not doing well.
Got Anderson County at home tomorrow. I know you said not much time to feel sorry about yourself, and it's going to be a quick recovery. Is there something that you're looking forward to that game that we should be expecting?
Coach, I've had Coach David and Coach Wucky looking at him. I hate to look ahead until we are getting ready to play that team. So I'll get on them tonight. I know they got two really good players that are putting up a lot of points. But I'll look at their notes and watch some film this evening and tomorrow, and we'll be ready to go come tip-off to 7:30 tomorrow night.
Well, Coach, once again, thank you for joining us here on the post-game show, and looking forward to seeing you guys play tomorrow, and best of luck.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. And that will just about do it for us here on Girard Sports Live for the night. Caleb, any final comments?
I mean, personally, I think let's just go get them tomorrow night at home, get back on the winning side of things for the boys, and great game from the girls.
Well, that will do it. Once again, from me, Caleb, Sarah, and the rest of the Varsity Sports production crew, we say good night, and we hope to see you all tomorrow and next time on Girard Sports Live, presented by Croccan.
watching. From the gridiron to the hardcourt, the pitch to the mat, don't miss any of the action. We're there with live, local sports coverage at VarsitySportsLive.com.